afternoon, everybody. This is the Planning and Zoning Commission of the City of Socorro, Texas. It's July 1st, 2025, 5:38 p.m. We call this meeting to order.
Item number 2, establishment of quorum. Andrew Arroyos,
Here.
Enrique Cisneros,
Here.
David Estrada,
Here.
Julie Dominguez, absent. Osvaldo Reza, absent. Yolanda Rodriguez. We have a quorum with 4 commissioners present. Item number 3, open forum. Alfredo, do we have anyone that would like to speak?
Not at the moment.
Thank you. Item number 4, consent agenda. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion.
Do I have a second? I have a motion made by Andrew Arroyo, second by Yolanda Rodriguez. To approve. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstain?
Abstain.
Motion carried. Regular agenda. Item number 5, public hearing for the proposed amendment to the Code of Ordinance of the City of Socorro, Texas, Chapter 46, zoning Article 4, district regulations to add the district regulations for 8-1 agricultural zoning district. Mr. Arroyos?
Good afternoon, everybody. We will open public hearing at 5:40.
Mr. Chairman, may I just go over the process?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. So we are opening public hearing for an introduction of the A1 Agricultural Zoning District to the City of Socorro's Code of Ordinances. We have about 10 speakers who are signed up. We'll take those in order in the ones who are present with us here at the at Chambers, and then proceed to anybody who would like to speak from the participants that are listening to the meeting online. For anybody that is watching the video on YouTube because they couldn't get through, the access code did change. Marion, can you provide the access code? If you would still like to call in to listen or to speak or to provide public comment, please dial that same phone number and use this access code.
Access code would be 323610. Access code 323610. Thank you.
Thank you. So we will go through the people that have signed up for public comment. Public comment is limited to 3 minutes. Once all of the speakers have spoken, we will close the public hearing and move on to the planning and zoning presentation. Staff will do their best to answer any questions that may be raised as part of the public comment period. I would also like to share that this is not the last public hearing on this item. The recommendation that we take from the Planning and Zoning Commission today will be taken to City Council, and that public hearing is open, and we invite everyone to attend that meeting as well. City Council's decision that day will be final unless some other amendments or other direction is provided to staff. Thank you. Sure.
Yes, access code is 323610. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question for clarification.
Yes, Mr. Staff.
So items 7 and 8, are they related in any way to items 5 and 6?
Yes. Items 7 and 8 will be will rely on the outcome of 5 and 6. So if 5 and 6 gets approved, doesn't get approved, it will affect items 7 and 8, as they are trying to rezone that property from R1 to A1.
So then, items 5 through 8 are all basically related in the sense that the people that are here, the items 5 through 8 will affect the people that are here?
Items, I do not, I cannot speak to that explicitly because I don't know how many people have signed up to speak about 8 and how many have spoken to speak about 6. Item 6, notification was sent out to all A1 agricultural zoning district properties,
Can,
according to our zoning map.
would it, would-
Item 8, notification was sent to property owners within 200 feet of that affected property.
okay, would it be possible to listen to items 7 and 8, table it, come back to it, vote on that later on?
Separately, we can have that discussion when we get to that item, but currently we are on item 5 and 6, and we can see
But-
how you feel after item 5 and 6.
Yeah, but we're gonna be asked to vote on 5 and 6. The outcome will directly affect 7 and 8, but we have no idea what 7 and 8 are at this point. And by
Yeah,
we mean
and it's one
us.
case, and it's one case, and we can listen to that case and decide to
And
table it
so-
if that's necessary.
And so why can't we listen to 7 and 8 first?
It is
Table
it is a minor piece of a larger issue. A1 and the fact that A1 district regulations are not in our ordinance is what we're trying to address first, so that then we can move on to this one case where somebody is trying to rezone to A1.
But the problem that I'm having is that we're being asked to vote on it, right? And then comes item 7 and 8. But we don't know what 7 and 8 is. And so I'm thinking, why not, let's do this. Why not listen to 5 and 6? Let's not take action, listen to 7 and 8, and then go back and vote on item 6 later on in this meeting.
Sounds
But I
very
think it's
good.
fair for the commissioners to understand what's in 7 and 8 because the room is full of people.
Sounds very good.
If we don't understand, how can they understand? I don't,
Again,
I don't see
not-
why we can't change the process. I've seen it done at city council where there's a motion made. One of the city council members will say, I make a motion to listen to items 7 and 8 right at the beginning. They table it, they go back and vote on it, but why can't we do it here? I think it's fair, I think it's open for everybody, I think that's the way it should be. I don't think it's fair to vote on 5 and 6 for a zoning amendment or for an ordinance amendment, which lines up 7 and 8 for whoever that, for whoever that applicant is. It's not, I don't think it's fair. I think we should see the whole thing. I think they should see the whole thing. I certainly want to see the whole thing because I don't know what we're going to be voting on the
I'm sorry.
zoning ordinance.
That's, I understand. The chairman, would you like to entertain a motion?
Yeah, okay.
Before we do that, real quick question, anybody that already has an A1?
So that's what we would like to explain during the presentation.
Well, just one question. real
Sure,
quick. If anybody that already has an A1 designation they're gonna be grandfathered in.
yes.
Okay, so then I would make a motion to listen to 7 and 8 first, and then move on to the change of to addressing the ordinance.
I do apologize. We do have open here, public hearing open. We would need to close public hearing, so we could go ahead and make a motion.
I make a motion to
we-
close public hearing on item number 5 until we resolve the order of what we're going to do.
Well, the way I guess we would propose it is close open hearing, and then move 7 and 8 first,
Yes.
before we move on to the change, looking at the presentation for the change of the
Right.
ordinance.
So we
Does that sound good?
So we need to close public hearing?
Okay,
Was
I
there
ma-
a second?
Yes.
Thank
there's a second.
So we're closing public hearing for now at 5:47.
Was there a vote?
I have,
David Estrada?
I have a motion made by David Estrada, second by Andrew Arroyos. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye. Okay, quick question. Is the applicant for item number 8 present?
Yes, she's on Zoom.
Okay.
So,
She's on audio. She's on video.
She
and
is
audio.
on Zoom.
Okay,
Miss Marty Loya.
okay.
so we need to make a motion to start with, this meeting with, item number 7, correct?
Yeah, I think if you want to do that, then you need to make a motion to move up items seven and eight. Move it up the agenda. Do the public hearing first on number 7 and then number 8.
And before we do that, can we add that so that when it comes to council, that's presented to them first before the change of the ordinance, or before we get into the ordinance? Is that
You
possible?
can make that recommendation.
Yeah.
Okay. Make a motion to move 7 and 8, item 7 and 8 prior to item 5 and 6.
With the recommendation that city council does the same.
With the recommendation that that city council do the same. Is that correct?
Sure, yes.
Any seconds?
I second.
I have a motion made to move item 7 and 8 prior to 5 and 6. Recommendation for city council to do the same. Made by David Estrada and second by Andrew Arroyos. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstain? Motion carried.
Okay, and so we'll be able to go back and, so like, for example, item 8, we can table it, we're gonna listen to it, we can table it, we'll go back, look at 5 and 6, depending on that outcome, we can go back to item 8 and vote on that today?
That is correct.
Okay.
I would suggest we go through 7 and 8, listen, vote on it, and then,
Oh,
and then
Well,
address.
you can't, because 5 and 6 establishes A1.
We can't-
So without A1, we're introducing
And-
elements that would affect 7 and 8.
So item 5 and 6 need to pass in order to take action on item 8.
Well, the way that,
And so I have no idea what's here, and so I don't want to vote on item 6 without knowing what's on item 8. I really have no idea. And so that's the reason why I want to hear item 8 first.
I understand that. Because.
So I welcome the commission, whenever you receive your agenda on Friday, if you could go over and have any questions for staff, we have the time to go over any of those items in that Friday agenda with
I
you.
realize that, but this is an appropriate time as well.
Yep.
And I'm saying that because from Friday to Tuesday, there's a lot of life happening for a lot of people. It was reviewed, but we're here to get information on a public forum.
Here's my question. So, there's always a line in the sand, right? So anybody that's A1 is gonna stay A1. They don't have to meet these requirements. If and when the commission and city council wants to approve this change, this 7 and 8 will be the first that will have to meet that barrier. Again, there's gotta be a line in the sand sometime. My reasoning or my question is, what Robert's Rules of Order, what process can we take so that that comes after? We can take 7 and 8 on that basis alone, and then look at the change of the ordinance after that. I
Yeah.
could definitely understand that there's an order to the meeting, and Ms. Camilo's right. You know, there's always opportunity to address those things before we have everybody come in. But now that we're here, how do we make that happen? Or is that possible?
Yeah. My suggestion, my humble suggestion, you don't have to listen to it, but, number one is like, we're not discussing yet a particular item, although I know what you're referring to. Because then we first need to get into that item, then we can discuss what are we gonna do with X, Y, and Z. You gotta hear it first, but before you even hear it, you need to have the public hearing that we have on the agenda, because there's people signed up to speak that are waiting to speak, so. My suggestion might even be to let the public hearing happen first, let whoever signed up, let them speak their piece, and then you can get into the action item, whichever one it might be, whichever one you do first. I guess technically you could even do the public hearings on both items first, then do the decision items after. But let the people speak that have signed up, because there's people online, there's people here. But I think, yeah, this is where, you know, on the particular word of the items, because it refers to an agricultural zoning in 7 and 8, the establishment of the agricultural zoning is gonna be in 5 and 6. Sometimes things on the agendas, let's say not related to this, are in a certain order. Like we might say, well, there'll be a rezoning and then there'll be a conditional use permit. But if there's no rezoning, then the person doesn't need a conditional use permit. I'm not referring to this one, but just things that we see all the time. It has to go in order because then the applicant doesn't need Part B if Part 1 wasn't granted, so it saves time. But on this one, really, I mean, it does make sense for the agricultural zoning issue to come up first. I think that's where we have most of the speakers anyway. But yeah, you can move, I guess, the decision item to after maybe the public hearings on both at least, and then see what people are saying, you know.
So it is possible.
Yeah, it's possible to do that. But that's my suggestion. You can take it as you want.
So we can do public hearing on 5 and 7 first, and then go to consider and take action on 6 and 8 afterwards?
Yeah, I would do it just one at a time, so if you go back, reopen 5, let the public hearing happen, you can also move up public hearing on 7, and then take the action items after you hear.
That makes sense to me. Yes? Okay, so now we have to close, I guess, consider and take action on move public hearing on number 5. I make a motion to open up public hearing on number 5 first, and then go to number 7.
I'm
and then
sorry,
consider
wasn't
and
the
take-
motion to move up 7 and 8? So you would start with public hearing for number 7.
For number 7.
Okay.
Okay, so we
Is
will.
that correct?
Yes, or they could cancel that motion and then make a new motion.
Yeah, we can start in 7.
Again, you don't have to take action on 8. You can
Right.
hear 7, hear 8, and then hear 5.
Okay. So we will close public hearing on number 7, and we will go to a public hearing on number 5. Start with that one.
But, no, we're,
No, stay
the
on 7.
recommendation, the motion was to move up 7 and 8.
Right.
Everyone agreed. We're going to open public hearing for number 7, if there are any speakers for number 7.
Do 7 and 8, but no action on 8.
No
And then
action
we
on
go
8.
to 5.
All right,
And then
so
6, and then we vote on it. And that way, everybody sees what we're voting on. I mean, that's what it is.
So I think what you can do is to make it easy, you can, we're on item 7 now, right? They already moved it up?
Yes.
So you can proceed, open public hearing on 7, hear everybody out, they're done, then you say, okay, now I'll make a motion to,
Either listen to the presentation for
Right.
8,
or go back to number
Number
5 and
five.
reopen a public hearing.
don't take action on 8, listen to the presentation for 8, don't take action on 8, move to number 5.
okay, so we're gonna open public hearing for for item number 7.
There you go.
Did anybody sign up for number 7?
556?
Okay, so we will open public hearing at 5:57 for item number 7.
We have one speaker, Ms. Loya.
Yes, I'm here.
If you may,
So, what's that?
if you may please state the comment, I'm sorry.
Yes. So, the property on 232 South Nevadas, we're currently using it as agriculture. We are growing produce for Bodega Loya down the street. An opportunity was presented to us. A company out of the East Coast called Harmony is in the process of creating or developing small desal treatment plants. And the goal is that small farmers such as ourselves and other farmers in the area and throughout the country could use this equipment to basically attach it to their pump, their well, and be able to clean the water coming out of there because it is very salty. It's got a lot of minerals, and be able to take the minerals and put it into a pot that the minerals will evaporate and be able to use the water for irrigation. We're not able to use the water for irrigation unless we mix it up with flood irrigation, which as farmers, you will know that we're not getting a lot of water these days. So this is a tremendous advancement in water treatment for farmers. So the reason it came up on, for the city is that they were trying to figure out how we could use this because it is part of agriculture. And the zoning for that property was at R1. It probably was established decades ago as R1. So we would like for it to be rezoned to A1.
Thank you. Those are all the speakers.
So we will close public hearing at 5:59 on item number 7. Now we will go and open public hearing on number 5.
Yeah. So I think maybe that's a motion to reopen number 5.
Do I have a second?
I second.
I have a motion made by Andrew Arroyo, second by Yolanda Rodriguez, to open a public hearing for item number 5. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstain? Motion carried. Mr. Arroyos, if you may please open public
sorry.
hearing?
We will open public hearing on item number 5 at 6 p.m.
Thank you. Rodolfo Rodriguez, if you may please come up.
Good afternoon. My name is Rodolfo Rodriguez, and I live in the A1 zoning right now. And I know you said letters were sent out. I didn't receive one myself personally, and I know several other people did not either. But I have several questions. Why do you all want to rezone that into residential, or are we grandfather? I understand we're grandfather, right? Somebody answer that?
We're going to take the public comment and address all of the questions during
Okay.
the staff presentation, if that's okay with everyone.
Sure, that's fine.
Yeah, and,
So-
and we'll be able to gather all of the questions.
Okay, well, another question I have, and hopefully y'all keep it down, write them down, I'm sorry, is who is it going to benefit? I mean, obviously, the residents don't want it changed, and, you know, so that's one of the reasons we're all here. And who has the ultimate decision on doing the rezoning if that ordinance does go through? From my understanding is that if we are grandfathered, the properties will stay A1 until they're sold. And once they're sold, they automatically become residential or commercial, whatever the case is. Is that a way to get around it, so to just rezone everything for the developers, so it's easier for them? That's one of the other questions I have. And again, you know, I just want to know who's going to have the ultimate decision on that.
Okay,
That's basically what
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
And real quick, Mr. Chairman, just as a point of order, or just to inform everybody, so it's done in parts, right? So you ask the questions, we'll write them down. When city staff does their presentation, they'll go through these questions. So unfortunately, because of the way the meetings are set up, we can't answer them right. They're great questions, and we've got the answers, but we can't give to you right until we get to that part of the presentation. Okay.
Thank you. Efraín Caballero, if you may please come up.
Hello, my name is Efrain Caballero. And I know you guys mentioned that we'll be grandfathered in. So one question is, will we receive like a letter stating that? That way there's no issues later on 5-10 years from now? And then also, what happens when you inherit that land? Will it stay A1 as well, or would it change to either residential or whatever it is? And then Also, I did see that one of the requirements, it does state that for the land to be considered one minimum acreage is 2 acres. Would it be possible to, I don't know, maybe bring it down to 1 acre at least in those requirements? And that's pretty much it.
Thank you. Lorena Rodriguez?
Hi, good afternoon. I just have a statement. Why are we picking on the agriculture community? Before we start to change the rules and regulations of AG, let's fix what's happening in our own backyard first. Illegal businesses running under a residential umbrella, not having yearly and current permits. Focus on properties that you have rezoned from agricultural to commercial are becoming illegal scrapyards. Is any AG property grandfathered in? You've already hopefully get an answer for that. Re-raise livestock, grow produce, and run AG businesses. We are here to preserve, not destroy our community. I wanted to give you some pictures just to show you. This is a commercial business. This is the wholesale lumber turning into a scrapyard in the back. Address 833 South Horizon, also turning into a scrapyard in the back. And also, and it's a Socorro iron and metal. It's running under the umbrella of R1 when it's a commercial. We also have a residential property, 800 South Horizon, running a commercial business in their backyard, and they have about 7 seed containers. I hope that the city will start looking at our businesses and residential areas and make sure they're zoned properly.
Thank you.
Thank you. Raul Rey Perez?
I just had a couple of
can
questions
you state your-
regarding the
can you s-
rezoning.
Can you state your name, please, in the microphone?
Raúl Raimundo Perez. I'm at 212 South Nevares, right next door to this property. My question is, I'm not a real estate agent. I don't know if rezoning that property will decrease the value of my property, number one. Number two, what is gonna happen to all the concentrate and the residue that's left over from this pond? Let me see here. And then, is there gonna be a process for the disposal of the residue and the concentrate? Those are my concerns. If we could postpone, it would give me time to look at and discuss this with real estate agents to find out how it's gonna affect my property value-wise, the value of my property. That's my primary concern. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Janet?
I have a few questions.
I'm sorry, can you state
I'm
your
sorry.
name?
My name is Jeanette Lawrence. I am Zone A1. I called last week about this letter that we all got because there's some inconsistencies in it or errors in it. I don't know what you want. I don't know if you all noticed, but the only page numbered in this 5-page document is this one. There's a letter or a line on the front of this page that says it's red, and it says deletions of the current text are noted in red strike-through font. There's nothing red on this, so I'm not sure what the purpose of those being in this document were, other than to maybe confuse people. Because when you typically, when you write a document and you send it, you have page 1 of 2, 2 of 2, 3 of 2, 4 of 2. You have one page that's numbered. So I don't know why. There's a lot of questions about the zoning in Socorro, always has been. I've been in this community for almost 50 years. I have a letter from 2010, for those of you who have been there that long, and remember when Socorro redid the zoning for horse properties. So they clarified how many horses you could have per acre, that type of thing. I got a letter from zoning and planning dated September 1st, 2010 that says, according to our current zoning land use map, this property complies with the zoning ordinance. Yet when I called to question this document that you all sent out, I was told there was no zoning for A1. So somewhere something's wrong, something's been not seen, forgiven, I don't know. It's very concerning to me. I was also told, and hope this is clarified in all of this, that the people like myself that have mobile homes that are older, because reading through this document, it almost makes you feel like you all are trying to displace people, take their homes away because they're not the age you want them to be. I was told by whomever I spoke to that mobile homes had to be within 8 years old. If they were before 2000, they were grandfathered. Is that true? I would like clarification on that in writing. Just like I was clarified with this zoning letter in 2010 to clarify that what I was doing on my property was legal and apparently under an ordinance that somebody doesn't know about in Socorro. So there's a lot of missed paperwork. I don't know why. Either you all aren't finding it, it's disappeared, someone's not reading it because of all the new infrastructure in Socorro. You know, growth is a great thing if it's done for the right reasons and in the right areas. But you have a lot of families that this Socorro was built upon, their families, their grandparents, their parents, and is the future of their families. And for you all to continue to let people continue to add infrastructure, put roads through the middle of farms, because it's what's better for us today, that doesn't mean it's what's better for our families later. So I really hope that you all look at some of this stuff and maybe look further into the documents that you are trying to get us to believe are accurate and correct them. Because otherwise you're taking away what Socorro was built upon. These buildings out here that you all are putting our tax dollars into refurbishing have already been refurbished more than once since I've lived down the street. Why are you refurbishing them if you're gonna try and take away the basis of this community, which is agriculture? Those buildings were for the workers who used to plant and work in these fields. Why are you refurbishing them? Because the older generation needs a community service, which you all built, which is great for this community, but if you take away their land and you take away their farms and you take away their heritage, what's the point? Those older people aren't gonna live here anymore. And when our kids and our grandkids don't have that legacy to carry on, they're gonna move away from El Paso and they're gonna move away from Socorro. And then what? All that infrastructure you all built is gonna have nobody there that wants it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Azulema Reina?
Hi, everyone. My name is Azulema Reina. I don't know if whether or not I should continue with my comment, as this lady just said everything I had to say. So with that in mind, I just want to ask this question basically. Based on the contradiction that there was no code ordinance or regulations, and it turns out that there was, is this even valid to have it in the agenda today? Since it's so contradicting, the purpose of having this in the agenda today is because that was not done before. But as this lady before me stated, it was there before. So if we're trying to have something regulated because there's no regulations, but it turns out there is regulations, is this item on the agenda even valid today? I mean, if the law is said, it is meant for it to be applied and enforced. Not for new laws to be made so that we can get away with whatever it is that we're planning on doing. That's all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Richard Whitman?
Yes, ma'am. I'm listening. I mean, to me, the first time I've been in a meeting like this, like I said, two ladies that talked before me, we have a mobile home there that's been there forever as well. And I'm just, that's my comment the same way as what the first lady has to say. We never had no regulation, nothing that ever since I moved into that property. And now they want to change it. That's what I'm trying to figure out, what they change on it. And I'm just listening to everything. That'll be my comment.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jim Mike? Mr. Jim?
Oh, yes, sorry about that. I was calling, I own property that's zoned A1 within Socorro. Didn't even know what A1 was. And I got this letter in the mail. And I think fundamentally, I'm trying to figure out what the purpose is. This is very confusing, based on what I've heard from other residents and based on what I think I understand. First off, this document, like the lady pointed out, looks like it was just thrown together. I mean, there's a lot of confusion, there's a lot of lack of definition of what a lot means, what a parcel means, etc. You've got boats and animals on the same paragraph, and you got the page numbering all wrong. But getting back to the fundamentals, I was under the impression by reading this that you're basically trying to control agricultural land. In other words, people who own agricultural land, it's A1, they can't basically do what they want with it. In other words, they don't have the rights to do what they want to, but they would if it was zoned a different version. So basically, you want it to be a farmland, you want it to stay a farmland, and you put all these restrictions for permitted uses on it that we've never had before, and for some sort of effort where I'm trying to figure out what the purpose is. So, you know, in the great state of Texas, if you own a piece of property, you should be able to do what you want with it within reason, but you shouldn't be sitting around trying to figure out what a city ordinance is trying to do when you look through all this stuff. You know, if it's going to devalue the property because of these restrictions, that can trigger something called inverse condemnation, which means that you're actually devaluating the property. If it's going to remain in agricultural exemption as far as property taxes, if we're not going to be able to develop it to get the tax base up to help the city of Socorro and bring jobs in, it seems like it would be counterproductive. So I just want to make sure I understand what the real purpose of this thing is. That's all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sammy Carrejo? Eugene Trujillo?
Did you say Eugene Trujillo?
Yes.
Okay, yes, my name is Eugene Trujillo, and I'm calling in regards to some lettering that I got in the mail about amending the A1 agricultural properties. Now, this threw me off the scale. The property that I reside in is under A1 agriculture. And all the properties that my brothers as well hold, these properties were hand in hand given to us by our forefather, and they told us, always take care of your properties, never to be changed or for sale. The seeds that we plant in our land is what we put on the table. The few funding that we earned, we pay our oils, fuels, and our equipment and tractors. We, the farmer of this area of Socorro, have never bothered no one. We pay our taxes, our irrigation water rights. We don't bother no one. Why is it now the changes that are coming in to our land? We grew up eating corn, beans, and squash. That is a native eatery that we have, and we're still eating it. This is what we put on our tables. Why is Socorro trying to amend the ordinance? I'm just hoping for all of you that sit in the planning and zoning, hoping that all these written scriptures that was mailed to me were not adopted from another location within the city of Texas, or within the state of Texas, I should say, and bringing it into the city of Socorro. Why all these changes all of a sudden now? This is what threw me off the scale. And a lot of people are very puzzled on this. Like I say, we never bother no one. We planted our fields. We ate what Mother Earth gave us to eat. And this is continuously still happening in Socorro. Why the changes now? This is all I have to say, but I hope that people are hearing me. We don't need for someone to come in here and make changes for us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anyone that would like to speak via phone?
There's nobody else on the phone?
So we have two more. Let me just go ahead and check if they would like to speak. One second.
Hello? Hello?
Caller ending in 6769, would you like to speak?
I'm just here to listen.
Caller ending in 4747, would you like to speak?
Yes, hello.
May you please state your name?
My name is Hector Rodriguez. Am I being heard? Hello?
Yes, hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
go ahead.
I'm here for the same reason everybody is. I'm trying to figure out what all the jargon on the legal letter that was sent to me is about. I received very little explanation on 2 phone calls other than everything's going to stay the same. But it appears that's not the case. So I did, like everybody else, I'm just trying to figure out how this is going to affect me, the value of my property, I'm at 340 Vineyard Road, also A1. I plant pecan, trying to do my small farm there. I also pay taxes, water taxes. I contribute to the community. I work in the area, contribute that way, so that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Anybody would like to speak? If you may go ahead and come in.
I think, yeah, I think there's two.
Okay. Yes, go ahead.
Please state your name when you come up, please.
Good afternoon, my name is Norma Sierra, and I just have a couple of questions. What say do we have in this process? You all explained that we get to ask our questions, and then there'll be a presentation, but then after the presentation, and you may or may not answer our questions, but what say do we as the citizens have in the process that is being proposed? Also, we have the same question that has been asked, is what is the purpose of this rezoning, and who came up with this proposal? Again, for what purpose? And what is the connection to the Arterial 1 project? Because the timing seems like if it's a coincidence that it's, that they're both coming up around the same time. And so is this like to benefit the developers, like somebody else stated before? And I just want to reiterate that the reasons that we have moved here and we have been here since 2010 is because we wanted to live in an agricultural area, for our families to have that experience, and we work very hard in farming those lands. And so it's going to impact us. Like you said, yeah, you're going to be grandfathered, but what's going to happen when we inherit those lands? Or if I want to sell it to one of my family members, they would lose those rights. And that's a big impact in losing that agricultural protection. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes,
Go ahead and come up, ma'am, please.
Hello, I'm Margaret Jaime. I just got the letter and I saw the changes. And we in my neighborhood have gone through a lot of stress. The housing has brought us a lot of problems. They put us in a greater bind, a landlocked, still no utilities. And they still, with our new canals and all that, because I'm the alcalde of my section, a lot of problems. I mean, the dirt was moving, the holes were getting bigger. They haven't even finished fixing the canales. My neighbors at the end, they can't irrigate because the canal is hitting the rock fence. And this is on Warsham and Carr Road, between Warsham and Carr Road. My neighbor, Calderon, has a bridge. They don't give him rights to go in, but they let him open, but the bridge is falling apart. We go on the dirt road along the canal, and the canal is either sandy, and we get stuck. We are blessed if it rains, because then the sand will compound, and then we can drive through there. Of course, we don't have no utilities, but some of our neighbors have horses, they have planted, and sometimes they want to plant because you're just loading us up with all these restrictions. We moved there because we didn't want your restrictions. We didn't want your stuff from the city. You brought the houses to us. You allowed the builders to change the laws, change the restrictions to their pleasing. And we were just there, the fools, believing everything they told us. Because they flat lied to all of us. And also, I went to lower my taxes because honestly, I don't care if my property goes up. The less taxes, the better, because I don't plan to leave, and I plan to leave the property to my childs or my children. I have pecan trees. My dad planted corn, sandia, melon, sugarcane, all the crops you could think, and he was excellent. And my grandfather also was the foreman of a lot of the farming in Socorro, Sanelli, and all that. And that's where my family came from. Since 1978, we lived at that property, and we are being put restrictions but nobody helps us. We are the unheard. And it's just not my neighborhood, also the way down to Worsham to the other side. A lot of bridges can be used because the people from the irrigation owe them, and so there's no, the ambulances go, no emergency units can go. I have called emergency units, they don't even know how to go to the house. A lot of really selfish things. And I think all these people are tired of it. Stop using us. Stop bringing your laws if you're not going to help us. If you're going to help us, then do something and really act on it. Don't come and be such a liar. Because we came to the meetings when they were doing all these housings, the people from the water were there and all this. I've been fighting with the water and everything, and it's just talk. And it's not fair for all the people my age and older that you just use us. I hope you have changed about this and really do something about it and stop restricting us, because we didn't go to have this neighborhoods. We're there to do whatever we want, whatever we please, to our likings, not your likings. Because that's not the way we were raised. That's the way you live, fine. But don't force us to live it in another way that you choose to live. That's not right. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you.
So we have, I think, like 3 more people. We'll go ahead and take those three more people, and we'll go ahead and move on after that.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Gabriel Cerna. I live at 841 Castle Fin. I've lived there since 1980. So I am aware of that ordinance that this lady talked about back in 1980. So I thought this was a rehash of that same ordinance. I read it, and a lot of what was in that last ordinance is being rehashed now. Anyway, just as a point of clarity for you all. My question is, ours, where we're at, was considered an illegal subdivision. There's about 14 families there, and it's a really nice community. We take care of each other. And my question is, how will this ordinance impact us since we're considered an illegal subdivision? We don't have city roads. As a matter of fact, we own the roads in front of our houses. The neighbor in front owns half, and then I own the other half. So that's how it is. And we do get some city services, which we appreciate, but there's others that we don't, such as public roads and stuff like that. And we all have water, and we have electricity. We don't have gas, but it's a nice little community. But my question again is, how will this ordinance impact us now? And do we even fall under this ordinance? I believe we do, but do we fall under it? And then how will it impact us in the future? Because I heard Mr. Rodriguez come up here and speak about selling the property, and then does it still stay A1, or does it become something else? Or does then it fall under the purview of the ordinance starting anew? That would be my question. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Next, sir. Black shirt, please.
Good evening. My name is Enrique Sanchez, and I have a couple questions in regards to the amendment for rezoning from R1 to A1 at 232 South Nevadas. My questions are, what kind of lab reports are going to come out of this as far as what minerals are being taken out, and where's that going to be, where's this residue going to be taken to? Are there any type of dangerous minerals? Second, what type of EPA or state laws will be followed? What is the process of desalting all this stuff? Will there be noise pollution? What kind of equipment are they gonna be using? If there's any spills or anything of that nature from machinery that's being brought in to dig this well or to do this process, if there's spillage, will that be cleaned up? Will there be inspections to ensure all proper procedures and processes will be followed? Concerned that if pollution does occur, who's responsible to clean that up? Because the property values are gonna be affected if there's contamination next door, okay? So again, these are questions that need to be asked and answered prior to this amendment, because it seems that by rezoning this property is only gonna profit one individual, and that's the owner of 232 Nevadas. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll take the last person, please.
José Castañón, yo vivo en la 700 Car Road y ya tengo ahí viviendo como 30 años o 35 años ahí. Y pues ha sido un poquito vivir under the scary time porque no tengo calle buena para entrar cuando empecé a vivir allí. No tengo servicios de la ciudad porque no pueden entrar cuando llueve. Pedimos las ayudas y pues rodende por donde hay mud y get stuck. That's what I get to be at the end when it's raining. Ahora con la nueva subdivision que nos pusieron allí, pues supuesto ellos nos iban a dejar un exceso para salir a la North Loop, pero no nos dejaron nada. Nos bloquearon las salidas a la Car Road porque ahí no se puede entrar. Supuestamente, como nosotros éramos neighbors de esa propiedad, cuando venimos a los Miris, nos dijeron que nos iban a dejar el exceso para salir a la North Loop en Payment Road. No lo hicieron. Para no hacerla mucho larga, todo este tiempo que he vivido allí, yo he tratado de mantener ese pedazo de mi propiedad, la North Loop, poniendo gravel, grading the road. No sé la road a quién le pertenece, si es a Socorro, a mí o al neighbor. Es una cosa que no tengo una solución para eso. Ahora, sí, cuando se llegó el tiempo de taxis, sí me subieron los taxis, me quitaron mis taxis exempt para el agriculture, me lo quitaron porque supuestamente yo no había regado ya mi propiedad con el water rights. Y no lo regaba porque desde que empezaron a hacer esa subdivision, yo no podía usar ese canal. Y mucho antes no había nadie en quien lo atendiera tampoco. Más de que yo era el que limpiaba el pedazo del canal desde mi propiedad hasta la North Loop. Entonces, ahora, el problema que tengo es que si no yo como quien dice, llorado ahí con los del subdivision, me hubieran dejado esa calle sin gravel y sin nada porque ellos la destruyeron cuando pusieron el main water allí, main line. Entonces yo fui y me quejé porque en ese tiempo era tiempo de aguas, no podía salir ya para atrás otra vez para la North Loop, ni por allá por atrás del drainage, ni por el lado para ir a salir allá al North Loop por la Car Road. Entonces yo me quedo bloqueado allí sin acceso a fire department o ambulancias o para salir a llevar mis kids a la school. Ok, eso ya pasaron 30 años que ya lo sufrí, ya mi familia ahora está grande. Mi familia ya vive allí conmigo, pero yo quiero dejar ese terreno como para ellos, como lo empecé yo de años. Entonces, ahora yo no quiero cambiar nada de lo que ya tengo puesto, porque pues para empezar a hacer una nueva mobile home o empezar a hacer un building, una casa nueva, pues no tengo la posibilidad de hacerlo. Entonces yo lo que quiero es mantenerlo igual y tener el derecho de podérselo regalar a mis hijos el día que sea y que me den el permiso aquí para hacer eso de poder decir quiero regalarle la mitad de este terreno a mi hijo, pero puedo hacer el papeleo. Me han dicho que no se puede hacer subdivision. I mean, subdivide. Ok, entonces, no sé cuál es el futuro mío que tengo allí en cuanto a servicios, en cuanto a progreso para mi familia. ¿Cuáles de ellos van a sufrir lo mismo que yo sufrí? ¿Por qué? Porque no sé si esto que está pasando no lo entiendo, qué es lo que quieren hacer ahí en esa área o no va a hacer nada. Lo único que quiero yo es que de perdido, yo no le estoy pidiendo más, es nomás que nos dejen el right of way to get out to the pavement roads, the closer ones exit there is there, because I'm lacking there, and if I even try to sell my land, they say no. There's a law that you cannot sell your land if you're in a lack land, and that's not right. Why you cannot sell your land if you're in a lack land? So, otherwise, if it is going to keep going like that, but somebody will just say, you know what, you live 30 years like that, live another 30, or whatever you got to live. And that's when I got to pass the word to my kids. You just live the way I live, and which is not nice.
Okay.
That's all I
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So we're going to go ahead and close public hearing for item number 5 at 6:41. Now, we have to make a motion to go back to item number 8.
Yeah, you can make a motion to go to item 8, or you can take item 6, it doesn't matter, yeah.
I make a motion to move to item number 8.
I second.
8.
I have a motion made by David Estrada to move to item number 8 and second by Yolanda Rodriguez. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstain? Motion carried. Item number 8, consider and take action on the approval of the proposed amendment to the City of Socorro's master plan and rezoning of Track 4-B, Block 16, Socorro Grant, located at 232 South Nevadas Road, Socorro, Texas, from R1 Single Family Residential to A1 Agricultural, and a conditional use permit to allow for a small-scale water desalination project. Mr. Botello?
Good evening, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. Jose Botello, planner with the City of Socorro. Item number 8 on the agenda is the rezoning and conditional use permit request at 232 South Nevadas Road. So some general information on this rezoning and CUP request. The property owner is Mr. Ralph Loya. The representative is Quantum Way and Haig Rickerby. The property is currently 2.33 acres. It is currently zoned R1, which is single-family residential. The current land use is residential, and it's previously stated by Ms. Loya, it's agricultural as well. The future land use map shows this property as rural residential. And so once again, the request is for approval of a rezoning of a property from R1 to A1 with a conditional use permit to allow for a small-scale water desalination project. And staff is recommending approval of the rezoning request. Staff is also recommending approval of the conditional use permit to allow for a small-scale desalination project. And so on the next slide, you'll see the property is situated along Nevares, within close vicinity to Alameda. And then on the following slide, you'll see the property outlined in a thick red line. The yellow is denoting the R1 single-family residential zoning designation. And this is the same zoning map on a larger scale, so you can see a little bit more context on the surrounding zoning designations for the property, for the properties. These are some pictures taken from South Nevares Road of the property, followed by an aerial image. This is a future land use map taken from the Socorro 2040 Comprehensive Plan. The light brown overlay color is the rural residential zoning that the city anticipated for the comprehensive plan. Public notice was sent to the constituents that are within 200 feet of this property. We did not receive any correspondence either in favor or in opposition for this request. Followed by the letters that were sent in both English and Spanish to those constituents. And this is a site plan showing the current existing structure. It's kind of difficult to see at this scale, but there's a small rectangle which would be a container that would house the equipment for the desalination process. And then towards the rear of the property is where the ponding would be for that mineral water to be deposited. And so once again, the summary of this request is for an approval of a rezoning of a property from R1 to A1 with a conditional use permit to allow for a small-scale water desalination project. And at this time, staff can answer any questions. We may also have the applicant online to answer any questions as well.
Okay, if this were to be approved, then again, I think the gentleman out in the audience had a question as to the applicant having to follow certain codes or ordinances or whatnot, or that company that's gonna come and dig that well, they have to follow any EPA guidelines, right? Have their SW3Ps posted where everything will be discharged to or whatnot, right?
Yes, correct. So my understanding is that they're receiving a federal grant. This grant it comes with restrictions that has to follow certain, I believe, TCEQ requirements to make sure that they're operating a safe desalination plant, a small-scale desalination plant. I'm not too sure if but there is some restrictions that the federal government is requiring for in granting them the money to bring this project to life.
And I'm assuming a TCEQ inspector would come out, or who would do those inspections?
We haven't seen anything like this before, so this is a, kind of like a pilot program. So, we're learning as we go, but to my understanding, there will be inspections that make sure that they comply with what construction documents they bring showing the desalination plant and the process.
Okay.
It is a point of clarification, because it is a federal grant, there'll be additional oversight and regulation, and because it is a pet project. Because it is a federal project and it is something new, not only I think to us, but I think it's a pet project for the federal government. There's going to be, I'm sure, additional oversight and additional routine visits than there would be at any other project, I imagine.
I mean, I can't speak to what would be required in the future, but upon inspection or upon their submittal of the construction documents, that's where we'll see what components are going into this development. So it's difficult to say at this point.
I can answer some questions.
Ms. Leah?
Yes, so the funding is being provided by the Bureau of Reclamation, and so there are reporting requirements. So we can provide that to the city of Socorro as well too. So as the pilot project is being developed, we do by part of the contract with the Bureau of Reclamation that has to be done, and we'll be collecting data on what's happening. It is a pilot project, so we're not sure how successful it's going to be, but we will be reporting on it.
So I have a question for the young lady. Since this is a pilot program, and this is the first time that Socorro is going to do this as well, wouldn't it be feasible for the city of Socorro to have that documentation on hand before we start to say that, yes, we want to do this pilot program, if we don't know how it's going to affect either the environment, either the neighbors' noise control? Is there a possibility to have that before we go in and say we want to approve this?
We don't foresee any of that to occur. The desal equipment is going to be running the water through pipes straight to the pond. Once the water hits the pond, the minerals from the water hits the pond, they will be evaporated. We're just talking about salt. They have done this already before in other areas as well too, and international. So we don't foresee any problems. Just a side note is that I know the concern of EPA, but we do have a cement plant right next to the property, so we're concerned as well too that we don't fall into the same issue that we see with the cement plant that's happening already.
And real quick, Ms. Leah, can you share with us, I remember this going to city council and you guys had a really great presentation. I don't know if a rep came down or there was a online presentation answering a lot of these questions about the noise pollution, and then will there be any extraction of materials that are byproducts of the process?
Yeah, so Harmony is the name of the company, and they did come down and give a presentation on that. I believe Lorene has the presentation. Lorene, do you have that?
That is correct.
Yes. So the city has, and the planning and zoning has seen the presentation and has met with the entities as well too.
And just from memory, it was a really great presentation. I mean, the goal is that if we can desalinate the water, it can really help farmers pretty much everywhere, wherever there's high contents of salt or minerals in the water. Do you have?
That is correct. They made the presentation to the Planning and Zoning Commission, to City Council. It is a worthwhile project. As we developed our comprehensive plan for the city, we heard from a lot of residents about how important it was to save the agricultural land, that they didn't want to see the agricultural land lost. It's a part of Socorro's heritage. It's a part of Socorro's tradition. So this project is an ideal move toward saving as much agricultural land as we can while having those conversations with the public. We also heard from farmers who are having issues not only with the quality of water, the amount of water that they can count on, but also on staffing, workers. So we understand that it's a multifaceted problem that we have. If there's ways that we can address some of the problems, possibly through this pilot project, if it's successful, can it be emulated across the city? Can we do more to save these farms through this one effort? That would be wonderful. We understand that a lot of the water that is available in the Bolson is salty, and it limits the number and the types of crops that our farmers can farm. The other item I wanted to, I lost my train of thought. The other item I wanted to stress was other opportunities. We're short-staffed. We really wish we could do more to try to push for other incentives to help farmers, to help preserve the land, to not make it such an easy option for them to sell their property for other uses. So these are challenges that planning as a staff is trying to address, having heard from the public through our comprehensive planning process, which we started shortly after I got here in February of 2023 to July of 2025 when it was completed.
And in addition to not just agriculture, but any rural area where there's lack of water and there's existing pumps, because that's what we're doing. This is an existing pump already, or sorry, existing well. This desal could also provide water to the community as well too. So we're looking at it in different ways. Laureen, Quantum joined. He's on the line.
Wonderful, thank you. Quantum Way of Harmony Desalting is also on the call. If I didn't cover any of the questions right now, I wrote them down, specifically the questions. Thank you, Quantum, for joining us. Specifically, the questions that were asked related to the project were what kind of lab reports would be available from the data that's being collected from your project. Are there any dangerous chemicals, minerals that will be extracted and stored in the ponds? Who oversees the licensing of this project? Is it the EPA? Is it the state through TCEQ? Should the residents be concerned about noise pollution? Should the residents be concerned about any spills from any of the machinery that's being operated on the property? What, if any, inspections will be performed, and who will be performing those inspections? If pollution does occur, who is responsible? I know those were a lot, and if you want me to repeat any of them, I can.
Yeah, thank you. Very good questions. Can everyone hear me all right?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, I'll introduce myself first. My name is Quantum Way. I'm the founder and CEO of Harmony Desalting. We are the Massachusetts-based company with the new desalination technology, who's in charge of the desalination pilot unit. My background is in mechanical engineering. I studied at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, where this technology was developed. To get at your questions, first and foremost, the disposal of the brine is governed by the state. So we are following, the TCEQ has a general permit for disposal of wastewater. It's a very common activity that takes place, so they have a standard procedure. So we are following that general permit. And in accordance with that permit calls for weekly inspections of the brine pond. And those weekly inspections would be done by the staff of Growing with Sarah Farm. In regards to noise pollution, I think neighbors shouldn't be too with that. This unit, first of all, is principally going to be powered by solar panels, so it'll really only be up the daytime. Secondly, the pumps are really quite quiet. I don't have the numbers right off the top of my head, but we can definitely get you for the 3 pumps would be the most that would be running at the same time. And these pumps, they'll all be contained within a shipping container. So I don't think anyone outside of the property lines will be able to hear those pumps running. And they'll only be running during the daytime hours. let's see, there was another question about what sort of lab analysis would be done. So we typically, we've already performed a lab analysis on the well water that's on the site. And this includes various information, looking at the turbidity of the water, looking at the pH levels. From our perspective, we're very interested in the mineral content. So, and we've worked with a local engineering firm, Go Environmental. They and to send them to a lab. And it basically tells us the ion content, basically how much, what the concentration of different ions are. This is what we look to design our desalination process. And we'll be performing similar lab analysis on the well water, but also the product water. So the water that goes through the desalination unit, which will eventually be used for irrigation. This is to verify that the mineral content is low enough to be good for the plants. And then finally, we'll also be running this analysis on the brine that will go into the disposal pond. We don't expect any of the minerals that are in the brine to be toxic. Basically, what we're doing in this desalination process, we're taking the same minerals that are already in the feed, and we're simply elevating the concentration of those minerals. I think Laureen also sent a question, concerns about odor or pollution. This again is something that is addressed through the TCEQ general permit. So something we are contracting ESCO Environmental to do is to develop an odor control plan. This is something that is, again, mandated by the TCEQ general permit for disposing of wastewater. I feel I might be missing a couple questions. I can't answer right now. I might need to get back to you on, but hopefully that gives everyone a better idea of what we're doing. And I'm happy to answer more questions. I'll put my contact information in the chat. And really excited to get this project going. Grateful for your support.
So as a point of order, are we going to go, we can vote on it now and then move on back to the 5th?
No,
or go
right,
back to-
because this item doesn't fit in our current A1 zoning.
So we have to go back to
It does
A1.
come with a rezoning, and I don't know if that was clear, a conditional use permit as well for the desalinization.
Okay.
We felt as staff that it would require that, being that it does require a TCEQ general permit. It doesn't elevate to just being permitted outright. So that isn't in our current ordinance. That's why we would request that you list here the item ahead of it.
So we can table this, we can table this one.
You can table this
and then go.
unless you have any other questions, and before considering item 6.
So we can go table it and then go back to item 6?
Yes,
And
and
then come back and vote on it
If you want to
afterwards.
revisit 8,
Okay.
table 8, whatever you would like to do. In looking through my notes, it is, there was another question that was asked during the public comment regarding how this would affect property values. Sometimes we don't want them, going too high, we're still property, we don't want them to go too low. It's very difficult to pinpoint one thing that's going to directly impact property values. This is a worthwhile project. The home that exists on the property will continue to exist there. The agriculture that is being performed there will continue to exist there. This is just an additional feature for the meantime that will be an accessory use to what's there. So I am not a taxing entity. I am not a taxing expert. I do not know the ins and outs of the Central Appraisal District, who manages the appraisal roles, but I would venture to say that this does not impact the surrounding property, as it just is for the agricultural.
Okay.
So I have a question.
Mr. Estrada?
This is I guess a pilot program So are there any other of these pilot programs currently in our region? And then I would ask in Texas, and then I think they said he's based out of Massachusetts. So how many of these programs are underway across the country?
Quantum, would you like to answer that question?
Yeah, I guess, so for ourselves, we have Harmony, our company has run pilots in Arizona and Canada and Texas, College Station in the past. We've got another pilot running in Singapore now. But generally, I mean, desalination, we're not the only ones working on desalination. This project is funded by the Bureau of Reclamation, and they've got regular programs. This project specifically is part of their Pitch to Pilot program, which involves 10 different desalination pilots across the country.
Is this the first of its kind for our region, for the Rio Grande Valley?
I mean, in some ways, yeah, we think of it as the first of its kind in that it is the first, we believe, solar-powered desalination container, which is for desalination, relatively small scale unit, and where the product water is being used for agriculture. But desalination, not far from y'all, over in El Paso, you've got a quite big brackish desalination plant where there are several desalination pilots which are being used. But yeah, I think we're doing something that's quite different, quite unique in bringing this technology to the very small scale where it's affordable for farmers in this application.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I would like to make a motion to table item number 8.
Second.
I have a motion made by Andrew Arroyos to table item number 8, and second by Enrique Cisneros. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays?
Aye, I'm sorry. Aye.
Motion carried.
Now, I would like to make a motion to go to item number 6.
Second, anybody?
Second.
Thank you.
Hold on one second. I'd like to, I think,
5-minute recess.
have like a 5-minute recess for Mr. Estrada. He needs to go to the bathroom, or anybody else that would like to go to the bathroom.
Do I have a second?
I second.
I have a motion made by Andrew Arroyos to take a 5-minute break, second by Yolanda Rodriguez. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstains? Motion carried. We will be back.
Okay, we are back from our recess. So I would like to open, consider and take action on item number 6, please.
Item number 6, consider and take action on the approval of the proposed amendment to the Code of Ordinance of the City of Socorro, Texas, Chapter 46, zoning Article 4, District Regulations to add the district regulations for the A-1 Agricultural Zoning District. Mr. Botello?
Good evening, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. Item number 6 on the agenda is the ordinance amending Chapter 46, Article 4, District Regulations of the City of Socorro, Texas, to add the district regulations for the A1 Agricultural Zoning District. And give me one moment to gotta go back. And so for this item, the subject is to consider and take action on an ordinance amending Chapter 46, which is our zoning chapter, under Article 4, District Regulations of our Code of Ordinances. And this is to add the district regulations for A1 agricultural zoning districts. In summary, for the summary, it would be to consider approving an ordinance amending to reestablish district regulations for the A1 agricultural zoning district. As part of some background, an outcome of the Socorro 2040 Comprehensive Plan, as Lorraine stated previously, was a desire by the community to preserve and protect agricultural areas while the city is in the process of undertaking a comprehensive revision of our zoning ordinance. There may be times when small changes are necessary. And so the current City of Socorro ordinances do not contain any sections for A1 agricultural district regulations, which is why we're recommending to approve the amendment to Chapter 46 under Article 4, District Regulations of the City of Socorro, to add the district regulations for A1 agricultural zoning districts. And so on the next slide, you'll see a page that was taken directly from the Socorro 2040 Comprehensive Plan under the Growth and Development Goals and Policies. Goal number 2 and goal number 4 speak about preserving the history and about preserving agricultural properties. So this request aligns with our comprehensive plan. Public notice was sent to the constituents that have properties that are currently zoned A1. The intent was to notify them that we were adding the district regulations back on our municipal ordinance for the properties that are zoned A1. For this process, we did receive one letter in opposition for this request. We received more than 10 phone calls for this purpose. And we received one email, not necessarily in support or in opposition, but requesting further information for this request. And this is the letter that was received today at the Planning and Zoning Office, stating their opposition for adding the district regulations to A1 zoned properties. And this is part of the correspondence that was sent to property owners that own a property zone A1 agricultural. The blue text is what is outlining the purpose, the permitted uses for properties that are zoned A1. The next slide, you'll see the conditional uses, which require an additional permit. depending on what you're requesting to do on your property. There are area requirements, as well as height limitations, off-street parking requirements that are typical with every other district regulations currently in our municipal ordinance. And so once again, the request is for approval of a proposed amendment to the Code of Ordinances of the City of Socorro under Chapter 46, zoning, Article 4, which is district regulations, and this is to add the district regulations for the A1 agricultural zoning district. And at this time, staff can answer any questions.
Okay, one of the questions I want to ask is, I know a lot of people in the audience who are concerned with any mobile homes. Is that going to affect any of them? In other words, the ones that are there are going to be grandfathered, correct? They cannot be taken out?
Correct.
That is correct, and the only language that was added from the, regarding the mobile homes is what is in our current ordinance for RE, R1, for allowing of mobile homes. I'll let you go ahead and ask your questions, and if there's any that you don't cover, I'll go ahead and address.
Well, do you think that you could answer some of the questions that some of the public had put out?
Yes,
Yeah.
however,
You have the
the
question?
chairman
I have
wrote
some
down
of them.
questions.
I don't know if you all have
Yeah.
some of the other ones or whatnot, but, so that was the first one. And then some of them were asking if there was this ordinance change would decrease their property value.
And my answer to that is similar to the one I gave before. The property values are determined by the Central
Central
Appraisal
appraisals.
District. They can be based on the land, the sale of land around the property, the use, the buildings on the property. And I'll answer, if I could, again, and just to stress, and to answer one of the questions. What is the purpose of us introducing this right now? I do really want to stress that the purpose of introducing this right now is because somehow it was dropped from the ordinances. Agricultural land has no protection. When I asked where are the rules for agricultural, I was told, oh, they told us to use RE. Well, where does it state that? Back in 2014, the City of Socorro moved away from the paper ordinance and codified the ordinances online. There is no record of an A1 for the court ordinances that are codified online. There is an ordinance that states if it's not included in this codification, it has been repealed. Now, having come from a planning background, I would have gone to the next step and removed all of the A1s from the zoning map, but that wasn't done either. But at the same time, M1 and M2 were removed from the zoning ordinance in the time that this codification has been online, and we can refer back to those M1 and M2s. There is no need to remove the M1 and M2 zoning from these properties. The sole purpose and intent of this ordinance is to reintroduce agricultural so that we can protect and preserve the agricultural land that we have. It is just one of many steps that needs to be done, but ultimately it is the state of Texas. As property owners, we do have rights. Anybody would be able to rezone their property at any time. We are currently keeping all of the A1s, not projecting, not proposing to change anyone's zoning. All we are doing is hopefully adding rules and restrictions to protect these valuable resources.
And as I was reading them and stuff, I don't see anything that really would harm them.
One other thing that someone brought up, hey, can we change something in here? Is there something that we don't agree with? Is 2 acres as a minimum too big? Can we lower it to 1? That's a discussion that you all can have. Do you think that 2 is too small? Does it need to be more? again, individual discussions that we can have as we work through preparing the ordinance. And then another question, because it kind of falls in line. These meetings are important, and this is along with our comprehensive plan, tell us as staff, as the community, as representatives of the city council members who appoint you, what the community wants. If the community comes to speak today, to give their thoughts, to give their concerns, we take those into consideration and present that to city council. Ultimately, the final decision is city council. We add at that meeting, and we can share that meeting date with everyone. There will be another opportunity for a public hearing with questions for you to direct to city council themselves.
Okay, and another one that I heard from the audience also, people that are landlocked, this has nothing to do with, unfortunately, this is a separate item that.
This does impact landlocked properties because there are several landlocked properties within the city of Socorro. There are plenty of landlocked properties that are zoned A1, that are unclassified. So the issue with if you want to call them illegal subdivisions or landlocked properties, it's a very, very big task to undertake what needs to be done to fix these, to provide the resources that, as you've heard today, that the community needs. They need paved roads, they need access to all of the utilities, not just some. And because of the development of Socorro over time, there are lots of pockets, and it's 2025, and there's still people in Socorro that don't have running water and reliable sewer systems. And so these are very, very big problems, but we can only address things as we are capable of, and with the resources that we have. But yes, we try our best to address these things as best we can, working with partners. That's another issue, is that water and sewer are not a part of the city of Socorro's purview. Water and sewer are provided by the Lower Valley Water District, which is a completely different entity. The city of Socorro, I believe, has one representative on that board. We try, as planning staff, we try to coordinate, cooperate, provide as much resources as we can, and hope that they do the same for us. They provide the water, the sewer, and then other things that maybe most people aren't aware of. They are the ones that are in charge of keeping fire hydrants up to code. So it's a very complicated system and community that we live in, but one item at a time. Unfortunately, that's all we can do. But we are aware of these issues and how they are affecting people who don't have access to even basic services.
So just to be clear, anybody that's A1 will continue to be A1 and they're grandfathered in?
Yes.
Okay.
No,
Anybody?
your zoning doesn't change when you sell property. Your zoning doesn't change when you inherit property. The city cannot make you change your zoning. You, as a property owner, change your zoning when you would like to change zoning. We have an application process. We use this comprehensive plan as one of the gauges, the tools to make our recommendation along with what is happening around the area, and present that to the Planning and Zoning Commission for a recommendation, which then goes to City Council for final action. Whether that's an approval or a disapproval, it depends on the people that come to speak at these meetings. It depends on the people that represent this community as staff, and it depends on you all as representatives and citizens of this community.
So the only one that can change or request to change from A1 to something else is the property owner?
Any
Simple.
zoning,
Right,
yes.
okay. Any existing structures, any existing mobile homes that are already on the property, they're grandfathered in? Okay. So all of these suggestions are only to, when somebody wants to change from residential to A1, anybody that's gonna have a new agricultural, right? So if you have a farm right now, you're perfectly fine, you're perfectly safe. If I were you, I would catalog, this is what I have on my property as of this date. This way, you know, you've got it in your record. So I think that's most of the questions that people were afraid that, you know, I could hear the fear and the concern, right? Will this affect canals? Canals are a completely different,
They belong to WID.
yeah.
So waterproof.
Yeah, so that's not something that,
Canals and the banks of the canals, those are managed and operated by the Lower Valley Water Improvement District. The people that operate that organization are staff to also a board but in that instance, that board is elected. That board is elected, well, actually, the Lower Valley Water District Board is also elected.
Yeah.
But in this instance, the people that are elected to that board have to have water rights. And we coordinate with them as much as we can. We need permission to build bridges over their canals and laterals. But ultimately, their role is to provide water to farmers along the system.
and then one of the other questions was about the new Bracero Museum that was just funded. I think we had like X amount of millions from the federal government and the state government, the city of Socorro.
Yeah.
I'll let you elaborate on that.
So what I can say in my limited understanding and history, understanding and knowledge about the buildings across the street is that some of the work that was previously done was not the right approach for preserving these buildings. We have gone out there and looked at some of the structures that are in the back, and you can put a yardstick in there and it goes pretty deep. So the facade is there, but what's happening underneath is hidden and it's not visible. So those buildings need a lot of work, and they deserve that story, that tradition, while some of it is dark and not wonderful, not good to hear, it needs to be understood and shared, because not enough people know about the Bracero program and the impact it has had on the history of the United States and Mexico. So everything that we can do to invest in those structures, to show that we meant it when we asked the federal government for that national historic designation, that we meant it. It's every effort that we can make to preserve those buildings, build all of the ideas, bring all of those ideas to fruition. I understand that a while back, several years ago, there was a community outreach. Lots of ideas were generated. That's going to be the future home of Socorro's first library, the first and only Bracero museum in the country. Small business incubators. What other new businesses are going to grow from Socorro? So there's a lot of investment that's being made. It's not being made without thought, and there are a lot of people behind it. It's not just us and our resources as citizens of Socorro. It's the Mellon Foundation. It's the Latinas in Heritage Foundation. So it's the Community Foundation. So there are a lot of resources. We have a wonderful, most amazing grant department, and she is just going out and telling our story and trying to bring in as many resources as we can. So we're really trying to get the ball rolling, and hopefully this will snowball into something really beautiful here very soon.
And the dream is to have that economic driver, you know, the historical impact, you know, people come and visit and spend money here in Socorro. The next thing is, if when somebody mentioned about illegal businesses and these, we'll submit these to Code enforcement, thank you, sir. If you do have situations that you want to identify, bring it to your city rep, bring it to us individually, bring it to planning and zoning. We just let us know, and we'll take it to code enforcement.
The city of Socorro has an online as well as an
Application.
that you can download, report problems, report issues. We're a staff of 100 and some, a little over, maybe 150 people, and the majority of that is PD. So it's a small body that's trying to make an impact in the community and serve the community as best we can. So all the assistance that we can receive is greatly appreciated. But we will share all of those concerns. Anything that's on here that is a concern that can be addressed further, we will address that.
And then is there any, just to make it clear, there's not any connection with the arterial one
No,
controversy?
this item was
discussion?
introduced to you previously. We did have to, it got all the way to city council, and then we had to delete it because we did not follow the proper notification. So that first time, we didn't think we needed to notify anyone, but we did. So that's why we had to take a step back, compile that list of addresses, and send out that notification. On that, we as a city probably need to just research that a little more effectively. We did get some notifications returned. We did get some speakers who have said that they did not receive a notification. We rely on the Central Appraisal District records for our notifications. So that's something that we need to address and look into further to see how we can find a better resource for accurate, up-to-date property owner information. And that's another thing. It goes to the property owner. Somebody may live somewhere, somebody may be renting a property, the mail may be going to someone else, and it might not be getting to you.
And another point of clarification, so the city of Socorro might designate a property A1, but Central Appraisal District might have a different designation, because, and I might be wrong, but it takes at least 5 years for you until you get the agricultural designation.
That is correct. While we both have categories that are called zoning, they're completely different. Our zoning is governed by our Texas government code and our ability to oversee that zoning map and provide these restrictions for the betterment of everyone, for the health, safety of everyone, is different from what the Central Appraisal does and how they classify properties. And agricultural, again, I am not an expert on the Central Appraisal District or how they operate, but it is my understanding that if you fail to farm, you do lose your agricultural zoning designation, and that exemption, you have to work toward getting it back.
One thing before I forget, just real quick, going back to the mobile home, because I know somebody asked that if they could get a letter issued or whatnot for what's there already, or do they?
Yes.
What's the
So a zoning, zoning notification, certification of zoning compliance, right? One of those two letters may be most appropriate, but at that point, we can prepare a letter, say this is what is here, off of a site plan, off of current aerials, and determine that this is what is here at this point, and these are the rules that apply.
And so I just want to.
And we will
just to
clarify with legal what that whole process could look like in case we get a lot of requests for that.
So I just want to clarify, the A1 that we apparently could not locate in our system, the ordinance, okay? So I think the confusion with some of our people in the audience is that what is changing from what was there, okay? I mean, because when I look at this amendment, what was there before that is changing to now?
So
That is
a good
significant.
segue to one of the questions that was asked. Why would you put in red items that are being deleted, strike through red, items in blue, highlighted blue, underlined blue? That's because all of this is new. We do, as staff, do not have a clear version of what was A1 when the city of Socorro went to the online ordinance in 2014. So in 2014, the city of Socorro went to the online ordinance. In the resolution, it states that anything not included is repealed, and this is it moving forward. So we based this on the last thing that we could find. It was incomplete. We updated it with changes that have occurred over time. The ordinance changes that have happened in the interim a lot of them, and possibly the one, and I would have to verify this, but the one about animals and large animals and were made to other parts of the ordinance that do exist. A1 is not the only thing that dictates zoning regulations. We also have a separate set of regulations that apply to all districts, and those include items like signs, animals, the keeping of large and small animals, and other items like that. So our zoning code is a little unique, maybe a little dated, and I haven't brought it up, but we are also working toward improving this whole process by approving a unified development code, currently under review, currently being worked on by staff. Hopefully will get approved in January, and there may be more changes to what we have. But anything and everything will be for the purpose of improving agricultural land, making it easier to farm, and protect those properties. Did I answer all of your questions, Ms. Rodriguez? Because I feel like I went off on a tangent.
Yeah, I think because some people in the audience said that there was an ordinance.
Yeah.
Okay, and so we don't know what that was.
Again, this was just verbal guidance, use RE, which is rural estate, which is less restrictive than our A1, not going to protect or preserve agricultural land, but nowhere in the ordinance, nowhere in the item did it state A1 is now going to be RE. Okay. Remove A1, make it RE. A1, here is the A1, here are the A1 regulations. Because they were appealed, I don't have any faith in going with the one version that we saw that was incomplete. Okay. It was mostly complete, but it wasn't absolutely complete.
Well, I think for the benefit of everybody that is here is that it does create a lot of confusion, especially because, I mean...
Yeah, as well as for staff, as we have to administer the zoning and
Right.
provide guidance, and the ordinance is not very clear.
Okay.
But we are, again, trying to do our best to make this easier for everyone, to leave less and less up for interpretation.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Okay,
if
thank
I
you.
could add, maybe to help clarify, and I'm probably repeating it like a fifth time because you guys already mentioned it, and for the benefit of the public, I'm the outside city attorney. So really, again, to summarize it, the ordinance that's on the table right now is to fill in a blank because it got deleted at some point. When it moved from paper to online, it got deleted. If you look, all of you guys can go online to City of Socorro ordinances. You can Google it, you can find it, you can look at what are the current laws and every time it changed. It got deleted at some point in 2014. That doesn't, I'm gonna give you some general advice, but this is not specific legal advice. We can advise you legally on what you can do or what you can't do. But generally, that doesn't invalidate any of your properties, your zoning. If you've always been an A1 agricultural, you're still A1 agricultural. The rules that you had in place when you owned and bought the property, they're still in place. It doesn't change anything. This right now is filling in a blank because there's a missing section in the online code. So when the notice went out, and you guys, I think a couple people brought it up, it was all in blue and there's nothing in red showing anything deleted. That's actually right because it's inserting the whole thing because there was nothing in there. If you go look right now online, it's empty. You won't find A1 in there. It got deleted at some point, and it's probably by accident, to be honest, at some point when they transitioned. They were taking a huge stack of paper. I think you can go to the city clerk. They have all the ordinances, the old ones, and I don't know if they still do it, but then they went online, they digitized it, everything is digital. And so that's the basic explanation is, yeah, nothing's changing with A1. If your property has been A1, it's the way it's gonna be.
what's there now? What?
Yeah. Yeah, that's, well, right, yeah. I mean, the thing is that A1, even if it didn't appear on the online version, there was still agricultural land out there. And, yeah, and to answer your question, kind of, yes, it is, you're grandfathered in, but you don't even need grandfathered in because you've been A1 the whole time. You know what I mean?
Excuse me.
Yeah, I think the way the explanation, because I heard that too, is that because it does appear in the code, it could have an impact in the future if there's nothing in there. For instance, that application that's in front right now, they need to have, I don't understand the mechanics of it, I think it's because of the funding and whatever they're getting from the federal government. Well, it's for agricultural property. But when they looked in the code, they said, wait a minute, there's no agricultural property section.
Right.
So that's what, I think that's one of the issues that came up. And periodically, we go through the code, weekly basis, monthly basis. There's sections missing and all sorts of things all the time. You go through it, the city, or the Planning Zoning Commission actually figures it out sometimes, that there's a hole in concrete slabs that somebody wants to put in their driveway and it doesn't have the preferred, it doesn't have the correct dimensions or width, or we dealt with something like that before. So, city's constantly working on it, and so they've got to fill in the holes. But yeah, to kind of give assurance to everybody is it doesn't affect your property the way it is. It's filling in a hole that was missing information online. It goes in there. Again, the process, I think you guys heard it a few times, is tonight, this is a recommendation that goes to City Council. And actually, City Council hears it twice, so it'll be posted again. Go to the city website, it always has the agenda, the notice, there's a nice calendar on there. I look at the same thing every time when I come out is what's been posted, what's the date, you can view it online, live. And make sure you go to, if you want to say something again, if you guys didn't get a chance to speak tonight, you can go again to City Council even a second time and go speak again if you wish. You just got to sign up, kind of the same process. And I recognize actually some of the faces here from the Arterial 1 question that came up last time. So to answer that, I think somebody answered it. This has nothing to do with that. This is actually all A1 across Socorro. This doesn't have anything to do with the Arterial 1 project.
It's hard to believe that this is
Well, as a point of order, real quick.
Excuse me, yes.
As a point of order, public,
No, go, okay.
what
So,
do you call it, public?
we've already have a public comment,
And-
so we're
and
gonna
we're-
keep it to where,
Yeah, let's get those questions answered, and if we need to, we can open it up again.
Yeah, and I think that was I think that was the only thing I have left to say was the Arterial 1. This has nothing to do with that. But that being said, if items come up before City Council and you want to go speak, the public's always encouraged to go speak, sign up, kind of stay abreast of what's coming up on the next agenda. But these particular items that you're hearing today, they will go to City Council. So,
And Mr. Abadi, as a point of reference, or I guess the first question would be, when's the next meeting? It goes directly to City Council, or will there be another opportunity to look at this?
If you all take action, the item can go to City Council for public hearing, the second meeting in July.
Okay.
So that would be July 17th.
Now-
July 17th, if you take action today.
The goal is to have this ready so that we can vote on 7 and 8, so that it goes to City Council. Is there any limitations on the project on 7 and 8 between time and, let's say, okay, this is where it is, and the only reason I mention is because I know that if we can do a lot of the work here and get it to City Council, because here's my thinking, and to answer your question is, sometimes in any business, in any organization, there's administrative work that has to get done. And it's not something that we created, it's not something that you created, but if there's not a definition for an A1, then that can be abused where, hey, you're gonna get the benefits of agricultural land, but you don't have to meet the rules of that, right? So in a sense, it's to make sure that not everybody can say, hey, I identify as an agricultural property, right? And sometimes it's just administrative work we have to do. And I see your hand, go ahead, put it down. We'll get to you guys in a little bit. But I really think that, I guess my question would be is, one is, let's hear everyone out, let's write down the questions, we've answered them. I don't, not to the satisfaction we would all love, of course. But I think that if we hear it, table it, so long as it doesn't affect item 7 and 8, and if there's tangibles, measurables, actionables. The perfect example is, hey, I've got agricultural and I've got 1 acre lot and I want to make it agricultural. Hey, we're willing to listen to that. But if there's actionable and measurable where you're saying, hey, Enrique, or hey, council or commission, I don't like this part, and then we can look at it, but it's all right here on the actionables. That would be my suggestion so that we get it to city council, hey, everybody's on board, let's get it done. And this way there's less, I think city council has enough issues to work out right now. That would be my suggestion. But my question is I think we've answered all of them. There's one person, anybody else that wants to ask questions? 1, 2, 3. Anybody else that has questions?
I think if we do, we'll keep it to a 1 minute or no more than 1 minute or whatnot, just to get the quick question out of the way, and then we'll go back. Hold on, sir.
Just a minute, sir.
We
So I'd
gotta
like
go.
to make a motion to open up public forum, what's it called?
Reopen public hearing on.
Reopen public hearing.
We
We'll
have to
give
close this
1
one
minute. You'd have to come to the spot
Or just not.
and identify yourself. And really, if we haven't answered your question, even if it's not to your liking, but if there's an actionable, a measurable, something that you can identify, hey, this is what I'm looking at, then I think that's where everybody would benefit from that.
Okay.
Give
So I
me a
have to make a
second, sir,
motion,
I'm
sir?
sorry.
So let me make the
1
motion.
second.
I'd like to make a motion to open up a public forum. 1
Second.
minute for each speaker.
I have a motion made by Enrique Cisneros, second by David Estrada, to open public hearing. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstain? Motion carried. Mr. Arroyos, may you please open public hearing?
Okay, we will open public hearing at 7:49, and we do ask that you keep it within
All
1
right,
minute.
thank you so much,
Thank you.
appreciate the time. My name is Ignacio Sierra, and I live at 11909 Coca Road, and my concern is this: I would like for you all to be transparent. Please be transparent and state the facts. There is a lot of things that are kind of, gray about this whole situation that we actually have a lot of doubts, and one of them, and I insist, is that why is it that at this point, particular point, we're dealing with the Arterial 1 project and this comes up at the same time? Why? O sea, there has to be something or somebody that came up with this brilliant idea that say, okay, well, we're dealing with Arterial 1, but let's go ahead and rezone at the same time. I mean, that makes absolutely no sense, and there has to be, there's something else that I think there's hiding, or you're not being transparent at all. And just be transparent. The same thing with city council. I asked them, be transparent and just state the facts, and don't have us, wondering things or making up things. That just be honest with yourselves. That's
Thank you,
it.
sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Can we address them as we?
Yes, you can address.
So I am 100% being transparent. I will 100% say that I am the person that is pushing for the R1 descriptions, regulations, because they don't exist. And the purpose is to protect this. And we can look at the ordinance, the city clerk's meetings to show you the day that we did introduce it to planning and zoning. We discussed it. It went to city council. I was told I did not follow the right notification, so I had to start over, sent the notification. That's why you are all here, and we are grateful that you're here, and we really appreciate your feedback, but I am being 100% transparent. The purpose of this is to encourage agricultural uses, to protect agricultural uses, to assist in this project, that offers accessory use to farmers that hopefully, if it works, we can build on to preserve and make farming more accessible and more profitable for everyone who still wants to do that. So I am 100% being transparent right now. It is not, and Arterial 1 has been going on since 2019. We're 2025. I got here in 2023. I can only speak to what I know as a planning professional and what I understand the community, what I have heard from community in the process of developing the plan, in the process of developing the transit plan, in just opportunities to speak to constituents through these meetings of Arterial 1. I think this is a very beneficial thing for the community.
And Mr. Chairman, real quick, these are for new farms, to turn into A1. These would be kind of what they would have to meet. Anybody that's already A1, if we can have, if it gets tabled and we come back to the next planning and zoning meeting, if we can have a
And
process.
talk about it some more if we need to.
And we could.
That is correct.
And then-
And to answer your question, I don't think we have and I don't know if Quantum is still on the phone. I don't know that it's a definite timeline that the money needs to be spent, or that they're still in the process of, just need to show progress.
Okay.
But I don't know if Quantum is still on the phone.
Ms. Loya, is he still on the phone?
No, he's not, but I am. We're hoping to get the project started this year. The Bureau of Reclamation understands the delays, but they do want something to start this year as well, too. They are not putting pressure on us yet because of the zoning issue that came up. So we just got to work through that.
And do you think that if you get an approval with, or we vote on we take action on your item in the next 45 days, would that put a big hindrance on your project?
If we could get approval within the next 45 days and we can get started on it, at least they can see progress on it. Right now, they're not seeing any progress.
Okay. And again, I'm not saying we'd approve it, I'm just saying we would take action on it. But
Right. No, I understand.
And so these are the actionables for any new farm, right? Anybody, but here's the other process, Mr. Body. Could we have at the next meeting, if this gets tabled and we bring it up again, what would be the process for anybody that's already A1 that we can get them that certificate of compliancy? And what actions, this way you're safe, you're secure, you get it in documentation, and we relieve that anxiety. Would that be possible?
Yeah, typically you can ask or make a request for like a zoning verification to verify the zoning on your property
And all of the property, the buildings on your property,
requirements and mobile
setbacks.
homes. Mobile homes is a little separate thing too, because I heard a few people ask about it. Generally, I'm saying, yeah, the rules that you've been under apply, but I'm assuming that you didn't do something new, like you put in a new mobile home yesterday, and they said, oh, I want the rules from 30 years ago. Well, that's a different, so that's why if you ask a very specific question here, it's better to go to planning zoning later if you need some kind of permit or some kind of approval.
Clarification.
A clarification for your own individual case. It's hard to address them here, because I don't want you to then leave and say, hey, he said my mobile home was good. I don't know, I've never seen it, I don't know what year it is, I don't know when you put it there, if it's a new one, if it's been existing, so that's why you wanna go check with your own individual questions. Get zoning verification is the way to do it. And I think that, to answer one of your questions too, Mr. Cisneros, I think you kind of alluded to it. No matter what action you take on the other item, on the desalination plan item, because that's two requests, I believe, rezoning and a conditional use permit. It's not their fault that there's an A1 hole in there. That has done, even if you take whatever item, table it, approve it, deny it, you still need to do something about the missing hole in the A1.
Yeah.
That's why that ordinance was coming up first, because this application was coming up second that says, hey, I want to rezone to an A1. Well, technically, the A1 is kind of missing and a hole in there, so you can't rezone it to something that.
And I understand that now. I didn't understand it at the beginning. That's why we were kind of jumping up back and forth, so my apologies for that.
Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Edgar Carrasco, and I think just because, a big part of the community we're dealing with, Arterial 1, there's a lot of, we're very sensitive to anything that happens, right? I think the key here is communication to the community. I'm not saying I'm for it, against it, to where it could be very beneficial, but to our eyes, we're on the defensive right now. So if you are doing something good for the farming, agriculture, we appreciate it, but we just don't understand it. It's very clear, like, what Norma says, like, what are we, our grandfather to, what are we expecting? And it's hard, you know, farming, whoever's done farming, you just don't see the return of investment next year, in 5 years. You're hoping that you see it in the long run, right? And you work these fields for years and years, and hopefully you see a return, right? So it's just, I think key communication, a lot of our community don't speak English, so maybe all these conversations, maybe a translator on the screen will be helpful. But if you get this letter, I would say 99.9% of the community don't understand this. And I see confusion in your eyes as well, where it's not easy to interpret and understand. So it's just, I think it's a matter of communication with us. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Can I make a quick comment on that?
Yes. Yes, Ms. Loya, go ahead.
So my husband and myself are also farmers here in Socorro. So we became aware of this last year on the A1 not being part of the ordinance, and we were very concerned. So I think I understand the confusion and everything going on with the artery and all that stuff. But for this purpose right now, the desalinization project is separate from this A1 that we need to basically reinstate as an ordinance. Those are two separate things. We want to rezone our property from from R1 to A1. But in order to do that, it has to exist. Right now, it does not exist. So it's critical that the members of the community understand that since it doesn't exist, we could run into a lot of issues on your own property and other properties. So that's what I want to make sure that you, the members, understand, that it's two separate things. A1 is critical to the farmers, and then if that passes, then we can move forward if it's voted in our favor to rezone from R1 to A1 if it's reinstated. So that's why I'm hoping that you guys understand that it's two separate things right now.
Thank you.
Good evening. As Ms. Loya stated and this gentleman stated, so because there is not any clear, concise A1, then we would oppose because my brother Ray would oppose because there is no guidelines yet, right? So how can they be designated A1 if there is no A1? Again, so this is something that has to be tabled, and then there's a lot of other questions as far as EPA standards and all that we rose. So we just ask that y'all table this and then get the A1 out of the way, then ask for the redistricting. So, thank you.
Right, thank you.
And just to clarify, you are in opposition to the rezoning of Nevares, but not in opposition to the A1? You just stated opposition, that was to the, okay. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, my name is Norma Sierra, and I want to thank you for giving us this opportunity. I just want to say that there's a lot of miscommunication, and I'll give you an example. You guys started the presentation afterward that there was one email stating that they were against, but never in the letter did it say that we could write or that we should write that if we were against it. We don't know what the plan is, that's why we were here. And I think that maybe in order to improve communication and to be transparent, it would be nice if we could receive the information ahead of time, but not like this, like more explanation, like she's saying, okay, well, there's a gap, we're trying to fix this. So right now, it's like what we need is more information so that there could be transparency. Because even you guys that have received the information more than once, I guess the gentleman mentioned that, I still see confusion. And my question was still not answered. Like, what is the process? It's like, yeah, you guys are taking our comments, but what's gonna happen to them? Like, I'm not clear on that. And I feel like, okay, well, yeah, you expressed your comment, and then she kind of clarified, and you guys asked her questions, and it seems like she fills you in, but I feel like if I'm being ignored. So if you guys can just improve the way that you communicate, it would make it easier in all of us.
I have been criticized for my communication in the past, so I 100% acknowledge that sometimes I maybe think of a bigger picture and don't focus on the content. So I felt like I was trying to address your issue when your question, what is the process? How are our comments being taken into consideration? Right now, you're speaking to this board. This board is going to make a decision, and that is a recommendation that I, as staff, am going to take to City Council for their action. That is this process, along with this introduction of this item to City Council. You all have an opportunity to speak to them directly as well. We can work through addressing any inconsistency or, improving these public notification letters, but in the second paragraph, it does state that people can attend. If you can't attend, send your comments. Our information, our contact information is on the document. Anything that we can do to improve, this is a process that is emulated, that other communities do all over and if there's a better way, a simpler way, a more direct way, then we are open to improving the process.
I guess that's my feedback, that if you want more buy-in, we can close. Like, you're inviting me to come and give a comment, but I'm supposed to give the comment before I know what I'm commenting on.
Yeah.
Other than the letter, which was not.
The letter also included a map showing the property. Oh, sorry. I'm thinking of the Nevadas one. The A1 ordinance one contained the ordinance.
It contained the ordinance, but it was like, I was like,
Yeah.
presented, and I was like, okay. So I'm
What's
gonna
going on?
have a meeting so that I can get more
Yes.
information.
Understood.
But even in the presentation, it was kind of very short. And then after that, you moved on to answering questions, but I was still confused as to what the proposal was. So I think we need to improve the way that we are communicating with the committee, or the
Community,
community, or the committee communicate, even with the committee, because the committee is confused. And so if they're confused, we're even more confused. And I think if you want buy-in and you want things to go smoother and for there not to be so much resistance, we need to have understanding.
It's not resistance, it's questions and it's input and it's a back and forth. I'm not trying to interject anything, I'm just proposing something, and trying to get as much feedback as I can.
So what's being proposed is not clear, so we cannot give you an
Understood.
accurate input.
Ms.
Thank you.
Ms. Serra, thank you so much. I think we got the gist of it. And real quick, I think this is where the transparency comes in, the communication. Could it be better? Absolutely. The hard part is, it's hard to send letters to everybody about what concerns them on a daily basis, right? Just to let you know, there's always going to be, this is always going to be on the website, saying, hey, this is what they're going to talk about. I hate to ask you to do that and keep up with that every 2 weeks, but unfortunately we just have to kind of keep up with that. But in this particular situation, I think you have a staff and a commission that is open to tabling this, and I'll make a motion for that, and give you the opportunity to give you 2 weeks, or between now and the next meeting, to look at what would change for new agricultural. Remember, yours is going to stay in, and then we'll have a presentation on kind of what tools we can give you to identify what's already on your property. But if you see, again, in my world, a measurable, actionable, something that, the example is that instead of the minimum being 2 acres, 1 acre, if you can come with that, that's really great. Nobody's against farmers. Nobody wants to see that way of life go. Do we see it changing? Absolutely. Are we making that happen? Absolutely not. The only people that can sell their properties are property owners. But the ultimate goal is to identify and identify and make this easier for people moving into agricultural land or trying to develop their agricultural land. Is it something, again, in any business, in any personal life, are there things we have to take care of administratively? We just got to take care of it. But
again, I think there's got to be a starting point, right?
Yeah.
Right now there isn't, because doesn't exist, so we have to start with something that exists,
Yeah.
and then if we need to modify it, after that, then we modify it.
And if you would like to table, and speaking to what you were talking about, deliverables and something that we can do to improve and clarify things for next time we present. One would be this whole process of what does grandfathering mean, and get some examples of properties. What would they look like? I'm sorry, just this whole process of grandfathering, just to clear that up. Have no, answer all the questions that we could possibly answer about what does grandfathering mean, and then who does this ordinance apply to? That would be one deliverable, and then what would be the process so that everybody knows going forward. If I want to say this is my current, and register this as my current status, and this is what's grandfathered currently, this building, this farm, this stable, we can work through that process and outline that as well. Those are just two things that come to mind that we can do. If you would like to table for more information, those are just thoughts.
So I'm ready to make a motion if nobody has any questions.
I've got a bunch of stuff, but a bunch of my questions have been answered, I guess. I think under the bylaws, there's a way to where we can set a committee to discuss this particular item. I guess that's a question. I recall maybe reading that, and so what I'm thinking is maybe making a motion to do that, get a committee of maybe 3 zoning board members and maybe 3 members of the community. And to what you referenced earlier, let's do as much of the homework here before it goes to city council. But can you answer that question as far as, can we do that? Can we form a committee, an official committee to work on this? The reason for that is that I'm thinking that we've already seen this. I'm wondering why it went to city council. I don't remember us taking any action on it. I think we tabled it.
No, it was approved.
It was approved. Here, it was
Yes.
approved?
The only worry I have is decision by committee always takes longer, right? In my personal life and in my business life. My thinking is, hey, read the changes for that are being proposed for any new A1 land, right? If there's something that you don't like about it, Planning and Zoning Department is open Monday to Friday, regular business hours. Write a letter, give them a call, make your comment, and then when we get together at the next one, we can make decisions real quick. Do we want to change the minimum from 2 acres to 1 acre? Yes or no? Boom. Do we want to change that, anything else that's on there? How many people spoke about it? And then at that point, do you have people that vote for the change and don't vote for the change? And again, it's not going to be perfect, but I think once we have those actionables is where.
I do see what you're saying. My issue is that we're voting on it, but we're not ranchers. We're not farmers.
Yeah.
Right? We just aren't.
I
The
agree.
only one on this committee that I believe even comes close is Mr. Reza.
And
He's not here.
And real estate agent.
Now,
I agree. I totally
The
agree.
other question I have, and I think this is probably be addressed in the master plan, but I'm sitting here thinking, okay, how much land in Socorro is now, could be designated A1?
Yes.
So I'm thinking we have maybe 50% of our land mass is considered agricultural. Is it? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, and
I mean, that's-
one, being designated agriculture and how much of it is actually being farmed. It might be
Correct.
designated agriculture, but is it being farmed? So those would be very good questions to answer.
Yes.
I would say that I would be on the other side of Mr. Cisneros's point of view. The more people see it, the more we can flesh out the different points of view that can offer their opinions, the better product we're going to get in the long run. If we can flesh out as much as we can here and direct that straight to the UDC code, that would be great.
Real quick question, how do we execute that?
And
Next-
just
next
the other,
Tuesday?
I'm sorry, but we can't have 3, because that
that's
would be
quorum.
quorum. We would only have to be able to have 2 of the zoning board, of the planning and zoning commissioners, and then however many, maybe 3 people from the public who are A1, who live in Socorro, maybe some that are actively farming, maybe somebody large farm, maybe somebody small farm,
Then let's do
and
it.
then just staff.
Okay, so I think some members of the audience are saying that we're confused. I'll speak on my behalf. I'm frustrated. It's not confusion. I'm frustrated because, okay, so this went before city council. We're saying that it passed.
You all voted
Okay,
to recommend approval. We took it to city council. At that point, we had
okay,
to
and
delete the item.
so we were gonna come back and do something. We were gonna come back and have a special meeting. We were gonna come back and do something, right? I understand that city council shot it back because of procedural. Okay, I understand that part. It got to city council. My question is, why are we looking at the same stuff that we had a 2-hour discussion on six months ago?
It isn't,
right?
it isn't. We
It
listened.
is, are there changes to it?
Yeah, there are
Right?
changes. We took into consideration Mr. Reza's comments regarding the possibility of introducing
My-
temporary housing for the transient farm workers. We looked at an additional piece regarding, somebody help me, there were some things that were discussed during that meeting that were added to the ordinance. It is not a complete copy of what was presented the first time.
Okay.
And real quick, Mr. Estrada, sorry to interrupt you, but I think we can answer that all in committee, if that's something you want to move forward with. And if you want me on that, let me know. If you don't want me on that, let me know. But I think just for time, I gotta go.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
You know what?
We don't lose quorum if
I-
we leave, Mr. Cisneros. I'm sorry that.
No,
that we-
and trust me,
won't be a part of
I
the
don't want to go
discussion.
because I think this is important. So I really want to get through it, and that's why I think we need to postpone it. But I think that I want to take actionables that we can all kind of, hey, if we need to look at it and get more buy-in, let's do that.
I like the idea of committee. Yes.
And I think I can also add to is that when it goes to city council, it goes really twice. It goes, there's a first reading and a second reading another time. They make changes, they can add things, they can delete things as it goes, because the same members of the public can go again to city council. You have an issue with some part of the ordinance, I don't like this, I think it should be this. You go there, you tell city council, they can change your ordinance as they're still it's like working on a draft twice. So it comes twice, first reading, second reading.
That's what we're trying to figure out.
Okay,
So as a point of order, just because it's getting late in the evening, what would be the process of convening a committee and making that happen? What do we need to do?
Well, I mean, don't we first have to table the item and recommend that we form a committee, and that would be up to your discretion?
No, that would be.
It's
your
up to the
dis-
zoning, to the commission,
To
to
the
set the
commission.
committee.
So,
I
the process-
believe I read that somewhere in the bylaws, but I want
Okay.
clarification on that. But I think we're allowed to set a committee to look at stuff like this.
Okay,
Make a motion.
so let's
so
table it.
so we can make a motion to table this and to come up with a committee as soon as possible.
Two members
two
of
members.
the Planning and Zoning Commission, if you want to nominate, select right now, we can get this going as soon as possible. Do you want to identify the two members of the Planning and Zoning Commission?
I would love
And,
Mr. Reza, but he's not here.
Well,
But he
we-
can
we
still be
we can-
nominated.
We can
We'll
talk to
vote him
him,
in.
and if you
Yeah.
really cannot, then we'll
Okay.
ask for two others.
All right, I would like to,
I'm sorry, Mr. Arroyos, we still have public hearing
Okay.
open.
Sorry.
we need to close public hearing at 8:15.
Thank you.
Yes, we are. So now I'd like to make a motion to table this and to, right now, Commissioners, reporter, whatnot, talk about coming up with a committee of 2 commissioners and 3 or 4,
I say three from
three.
the public, because that would be a total of 5, and then
Okay.
staff. I think that's a manageable, that'd be my recommendation.
okay? Okay, so 2 commissioners and 3 people from the audience or farmers that would like to volunteer for that, and planning and the planning commission.
What I might recommend doing is just put like maybe a deadline on it so that you can make sure that the committee meets.
Okay.
If you want, that, that they meet, you know, by, I don't know.
Or bring back their recommendations to
By
you.
August
The first
1 or-
meeting in August,
Yeah.
the second meeting in August.
So maybe two meetings from now, which is about a month,
I would say soon, say by next
or
week,
even
I mean.
2 weeks is the next meeting.
I would say that we can come up with that, make a recommendation to come up with that meeting, set it up for 2 weeks,
August 1st?
August 1st? No.
No.
That's if I'm,
If I could make a
The
suggestion.
I'm sorry, I meant to say the first meeting in August.
that's a month away.
No, okay, so no, not 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But the next meeting for planning and zoning would be the 17th, and I think that that's not enough time. Unless you wanted to have a special meeting.
So the
If you wanted to have a special meeting, we could do that as well.
Here's my thinking, and this is just a suggestion. I think that committee should meet Thursday, the 10th, and Tuesday, yeah, I don't know, that's gonna be tight. Thursday, the 10th, and Saturday, the 12th, and come back for the next meeting for Tuesday, the 15th. That way.
July.
Yeah, yes, thank you, July 15th, yeah. Like, whoever's on the committee, let's meet, whatever the tangibles are and the actionables are, let's look at them, come back to report by the next meeting. This way, we've got an A1
Yeah.
ordinance, you know, the applicants have, you know, the criteria that they have to apply for. And this way, the community knows, hey, we need you on Thursday at 6 PM and we need you on Saturday at 11, or whatever that, you know, something that's manageable. And this way, whoever's here knows that's what they're committing to.
Okay, so we can make a deadline of having that committee by our next meeting?
Having their recommendation.
Their recommendation.
By the 17th. Yeah, the
By the
staff
15th.
wouldn't need a lot of time to gather data, information, everything that we used to put this together, we can share. So yeah, we wouldn't need any time.
And I'm thinking Thursday the 3rd, or Friday the 4th, and then Tuesday the 8th, and present on Tuesday the 15th. Just suggestions. The thing is, act like, this is important for you guys, this is important for the applicant, it's important for us to hear you out, you know, make a decision on these things, and on to the next big project.
Okay.
Check mark, check mark, check mark.
You think you would be ready by that date?
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Do you need another motion or a clean?
a cleaner motion?
This is on item 5, right, or item 6?
Item 6. So correct me if I'm wrong. This is what I have. I have a motion made by Andrew Arroyos. Do I have a second?
Second.
And second by David Estrada to table item 6 for 2 commissioners, for 2 planning and zoning commissioners and 3 public members and planning and zoning staff to meet the first meeting on the 7th and the second meeting,
If I could correct that,
Mhm.
June the 3rd?
July.
July.
Sorry, thank you. I haven't changed my calendar. June the 3rd, and
July.
July the
July the
3rd, thank you for that, and Tuesday the 8th, and to report back for the regular meeting on the 15th.
okay.
You need more time than that?
No, we can do it, we can do it. And since it's my birthday, no, just kidding.
On Tuesday.
Okay, okay, so second, we gotta vote, right? Okay.
Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and repeat the motion once again. I have a motion made by Andrew Arroyo, second by David Estrada, to table item number 6 for 2 planning and zoning commissioners and 3 public members and planning and zoning staff to meet July 3rd and Thursday 8th for recommendations and be presented on the next planning and zoning meeting.
Just as a point of correction, the goal would be to meet twice, this way things can be addressed, and then kind of they can vote on it, they can decide as a committee. So the way that I would picture it is Ozzie and David meet on Tuesday, the 3rd of July with the committee, and then again on the 8th. And this way, they've worked on it, they voted for it, and it gives them the opportunity, if they need to meet again on the 10th, so that they're ready to come back on the On the 15th.
On the 15th,
Does that sound?
yes.
Right.
Yes.
And then one more person, just, so right now it's Mr. Commissioner Reza
Reza can't.
and Estrada, but in case Mr. Reza cannot, because it is the holidays, who would be the third person? Arroyos, okay. Thank you. And then just volunteers from the audience who's still here, if there is anybody who would be interested in assisting with that, if you can see me after the meeting. And any questions that anyone might have, you can contact our department. The planning clerks can help you, and if they cannot assist, I or the planner can assist as well.
Okay. So let's vote on that, and then we would have to go to
Seven
item,
and eight.
item number 8, right?
Ah, de veras. See,
We have to
we're
table?
not done.
So-
Table.
Second, right?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
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 Any nays? Any abstain? Motion carried.
And then I think
Okay.
next time then it's 8.
So now we will open, we will go to
Oh, we
consider and
haven't
take
tabled
action.
item 8.
Yeah, 8.
We need action on item
Yes.
8.
So
To
we'll go-
table
go-
as
go-
well?
We'll go to consider and take action on item number 8. We have to vote on it.
Make a motion to table to the next
I
meeting?
second.
I have a motion made by Enrique Cisneros, second by Andrew Arroyos to table. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstain? Motion carried. Thank you. Item number 9, public hearing for the proposed amendment to the City of Socorro's master plan and rezoning of Lot 1, Block 9, San Isidro subdivision located at 11100 San Isidro Road, Socorro, Texas, from R1 Single Family Residential to R2 Medium Density Residential to allow 2 single-family detached dwellings. Mr. Arroyo?
Hey, just real quick, Mr. Cisneros, I know you have to take off.
Yeah.
So we still have quorum with 3 other.
Thank
So,
you.
real
Commissioners,
quick,
so-
if you could just enter this on the commissioners' meeting, so. Okay. Please excuse me, my apologies. Thank you all.
So we will open public hearing on item number 9 at 8:24.
We currently do not have nobody that would like to speak.
So we will close public hearing at 8:24.
Thank you. Item number 10, consider and take action on the approval of the proposed amendment to the City of Socorro's master plan and rezoning of Lot 1, Block 9, San Isidro subdivision located at 11100 San Isidro Road, Socorro, Texas, from R1 Single Family Residential to R2 Medium Density Residential to allow 2 single-family detached dwellings. Mr. Botella?
Good evening, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. Item number 10 on the agenda is the rezoning request at 11,100 San Isidro Road. So some general information on this request. The property owners, Mr. Guadalupe and Humberto Garifas. The representative is Ms. Lorena Armenta. The size of the property is 25,961.76 square feet. Property is currently zoned R1. The land use for the property is residential, and the future land use map lists this property as suburban residential. And so the summary is for, the request is for an approval of rezoning of a property from R1 to R2 to allow for 2 single-family detached dwellings. Planning and zoning staff is recommending approval of the rezoning request with a condition that the owner submit a sworn affidavit from a registered architect or engineer with the information specified in section 6-124, affidavits, along with the construction documents of the original structure within 1 year of the approval from the Planning and Zoning Commission. And so on the next slide, you'll see that the property is situated at the corner of Roden Road and San Isidro Road. The next slide, on the zoning map, you'll see the property is outlined in a thick red line. The yellow is denoting the R1 zoning designation, followed by a zoning map at a larger scale, so you can see the context of the zoning within that region. This property is part of the San Isidro subdivision. This subdivision was established back in February 4th of 1988. It currently has 85 R1 residential lots. There's no R2 or R3 lots. There is one C1 commercial lot, no C2 lots, and the subdivision in its entirety currently has 7 vacant lots. This is a map, the future land use map from the Socorro 2040 comprehensive plan. The yellow overlay is the suburban residential zoning designation that the city envisioned for the year 2040. Followed by an aerial image. You can see that there's three structures on the property currently. These are some pictures taken from the property. The top picture is taken from San Isidro Road. The one in the bottom is from Roden Drive. And then these are some pictures taken of the original structure that was on the property. This view is from Roden Drive. Public notice was sent to constituents within 200 feet of the rezoning request of the property. We did not receive any correspondence either in favor or in opposition for this request. These are the letters that were sent out to the residents, informing them of today's public hearing and the intent for the rezoning. Followed by the site plan showing the two structures, the three structures, I'm sorry, two in the front being single-family dwellings, and I believe the structure on the rear is a storage room. And then this is a letter that was submitted from the applicant back in January of 2024, stating that the intent was to stay in the dwelling in the existing or the original dwelling during the time of construction for the new residence that you can see on the aerial image. And so a year and a half later, the applicant came back and requested to rezone the property to keep the original structure, right? So it currently does not comply with the zoning regulations, and so listed under R1. And so in summary, the request is for approval of rezoning of a property from R1 to R2 to allow for 2 single-family detached dwellings. And at this time, staff can answer any questions. We also have the property owner and Ms. Lorena Armenta present to answer any questions as well.
I don't have any questions. I mean, they're both there already. It doesn't make sense to tear down the second one or whatnot. I'm pretty familiar with the area, so I don't have any questions.
I'm confused.
Okay, but I thought that the reason we're doing this now is because they've changed their mind and they're gonna keep the house that's there, right?
Correct.
Right, they're not gonna tear down that
Yeah, the original
home.
intent was to use the house, the original house,
Uh-huh.
while there was a new residence
A
being
new
built.
residence,
And
okay.
at that time, the applicant was supposed to demolish the original structure, which is stated on the on the letter.
Uh-huh,
And so, a year and a half later, the applicant changed their mind upon completion of the new residence, and
okay. So there's another building going up already?
It's already there.
It's in
It's already
existence.
there?
Yes, you
So
can see
it
it on
already
the-
exists?
Can you go to the
Okay,
aerial?
so we're trying to just rezone it because it's already there and he's not gonna knock down that house?
That is his preference, to go ahead and keep.
Okay.
But there are conditions that staff is recommending we attach to the rezone.
Okay.
So this is a pretty recent aerial. You can see the newer home on the southern portion of the photograph, of the aerial.
The big one.
The larger one,
Okay.
yeah.
So the big one's the one that they just built.
The new one.
They were living on that small portion.
Okay,
When they were building that, now they finished the bigger one, but they want to keep that small one.
Correct,
Okay.
yeah, you
They
can see
just want to
this.
rezone to keep it.
okay.
Correct.
This can't be taken care of as like keep it under the current zoning, but with a special use with the second dwelling or something like that?
No,
'Cause
we
they're-
don't allow accessory dwelling units in R1. Are these currently, I'm sorry, are these currently tied to just the single utilities? Yes, right? Yeah, they don't have separate utilities, but we don't allow,
What are, accessory dwellings are
Acc-
allowed under something,
C1,
no?
C1
No accessory dwelling?
No.
in C1.
There's gotta be accessory
Commercial.
dwellings
Accessory
in
dwelling is
Commercial.
under
residential.
C1, but no.
I
not
believe
under-
it's tied to statewide, what is it called?
Accessory dwellings, maids quarters, detached garages?
no.
There's gotta be something in there. I mean, that's,
No. I believe it's tied to the response to Colonia legislation where model subdivision rules only allow for one dwelling on a lot.
ADUs are allowed in El Paso.
Yes, El Paso's
So how
different.
can
So
that be
El
tied
Paso is
into,
different.
how can that be tied into Texas legislation if El Paso
El
allows it?
Paso is different.
How can that be different? It's in El Paso, how can that
I
be
think,
different?
But
than
where,
what it
where
said?
it comes
goes back
from,
to the
where it
population.
started,
Right.
not to say that they're completely legal, but why they are in place here and not in El
I
Paso.
pull permits on accessory dwelling units in El Paso
In El Paso
often.
all the time,
Yeah,
yes,
and so
El
why
Pa-
aren't they allowed in Socorro?
Again, it may be a product of that. Not that they're not allowed.
It might be a
It not-
product of
Again, not
what?
that they're not allowed, but as a part of this model subdivision rules to combat colonias, which are not an issue in El Paso. And that is just, my take.
It makes, it's your take, I agree, I understand, but it makes no sense not to allow accessory dwelling units under a residential zoning, which is R1. Why would we, first of all, have an issue with the changing of their mind? How convenient, okay? That's number one. Number two, why not just do it with a special permit? Why rezone it? Why can't this be a special use? Why rezone? Why rezone to R2? There aren't any other R2s, is there, in this community?
No, there aren't.
Why allow it?
There aren't.
There have to be, I mean, there has to be an accessory dwelling unit allowed in R1. And if not, let's say it's not in our ordinance, why not allow it as a special use, as a second dwelling? Which I'm not in favor of to begin with. They should tear it down because they said they were going to tear it down. But I also understand that circumstances change, you know, that's their personal stuff, but
So maybe we should look into, can we, accessory, if the city,
Accessory
if the city
dwelling unit.
doesn't allow that. Because, yeah, why are we gonna change a zone from an R1 to an R2? And then we've got a problem with everybody doing an R2 later on because they're gonna add something.
Or everyone doing an R1 and not keeping it as,
As long as you get a permit, I would think that,
it's because accessory
dwelling units?
accessory dwelling units, yeah. I mean, it's,
well,
why wouldn't, we talked about this the other day.
Yeah, they're not in the current ordinance.
yeah, so maybe we should look at that. Since we're gonna do ordinances on A1, maybe we should look at ordinances on accessory dwellings to prevent us from rezoning from, because, yeah, I mean, what if I
It's-
wanna do a maid's quarter at my house and I have to come back and rezone my property? No. That would not make sense, you know, so.
And it even ties into the A1 that we're talking about earlier. It's like accessory dwelling, maids quarters, the whole thing, farm worker units, you know, it has to be allowed. Accessory dwelling units, it's what they are, accessory dwelling units.
So can we table this item and can we look at this further so that we can,
Okay, are the two dwellings right now, are they attached in any
No.
way,
No.
shape, or form? See, it's because rezoning because of that. There's a letter, they agreed they were gonna tear it down, now they're coming back, they're not attached, it's not a duplex. It's, I get it that there's circumstances why they're asking that, but I'm thinking, why do we need to rezone? Why not allow it under another special use or a variance or something?
I think my only suggestion might be is better usually, I mean, because you don't want to table too many items. I would either give it an upvote or a downvote, because it'll still go to city council, but the problem, because you kind of just saw with ordinances, is that if we're looking at ordinances, that's a 6-month process, that meanwhile the applicant's waiting, they don't know what's going on with their thing, you know.
Again, Just to add, we don't mind tabling it. This would not be a 2-week, we're going to turn this over right away and provide recommendations. This would probably be a little more of a research project, and would you want to change it for all of the residential uses? What are the implications? It isn't just a simple, okay, it's just going to be a maid's quarters. There are also other items to consider when considering the change. So, but we don't mind tabling it as they currently stand. They wouldn't be able to be occupying the second home. We wouldn't require them to tear it down, but we wouldn't let them occupy the second home while we work out the details of this ordinance change.
You said the applicant is present?
Yes.
I have a question.
Do you prefer English or Spanish? ¿Prefiere inglés o español?
Español.
Ok. Antes de seguir, ¿hay alguna parte de la presentación o la discusión que no está clara?
No, todo está bien.
¿Sí? ¿No tiene alguna pregunta en lo que hemos discutido hasta aquí? Porque el señor Estrada tiene una pregunta para usted.
Hello, señor. Buenas noches. Ya, noches. Sí.
Dígame.
La pregunta es, en un principio estaban pensando tumbar la casa, la primera, ¿verdad?
Sí.
Y luego cambiaron de mente. ¿Por qué cambiaron de mente de no tumbarla y ahora querer tenerla habitable?
Realmente, y lo que pedía yo era más tiempo, ¿verdad? Porque quería comprar otra propiedad, es lo que les decía. Realmente sí la pienso tumbar en algún tiempo más. Nomás quiero una extensión, un tiempo para ahorrar un poco de dinero, y queremos comprar otra vivienda para mi hijo, ¿verdad? Que viva ahí un tiempo, en lo que junto dinero para comprar otra propiedad. Porque él estaba rentando, o sea, realmente eso es lo que me interesa. Que él viva ahí, perdí un año, ¿verdad? Lo que se necesite, o sea, realmente sí la pienso tirar.
¿Y esa propiedad ahorita está habitable?
Sí, porque
Sí,
yo la arreglé ahí y vivía.
Ahí pueden
la
vivir.
arreglé poquito para vivir en lo que hacíamos la casa nueva. Está habitable la casa.
Ok. ¿Cuánto tiempo necesitarían?
Yo estaba pensando un año y medio.
Okay.
Realmente mi pienso no es hacer ninguna otra cosa como para vivir o que vivan en más, no, o sea, nomás eso es lo que quiero, o sea, la voy a tumbar y pienso hacer un garage y un porche o algo para los carros.
¿Y de qué tamaño es ese lugar?
Sí, ¿qué tamaño tiene? Como 20... No está muy grande, la caseta no está muy grande.
Es como de unos 1000 pies más o menos, ¿no? 1200 pies cuadrados.
No creo que sean 1000, unos
Menos,
800 o algo así. No llega a los 1000.
It's a small,
Sí, está
it's a
chica.
small house.
Yo digo que son sí,
like a
unos
shed.
800 a 900. Son una recamarita, sí, 2 recamaritas y la cocinita y un baño.
Okay.
No, en sí no, el plan mío no es hacer nada ahí ni que se quede por el tiempo, así no. O sea, sí se va a tirar la casa. No quiero hacer nada nuevo ahí como para negocio o así, no, nada de eso vamos a
Duplex,
hacer.
no buscas
Ni
hacer
para
duplex,
rentar,
apartamento.
No voy a hacer duplex, no vamos a meter otra gente ahí, o sea, el plan mío es que viva mi hijo un rato ahí y juntar dinero para que se compre su casa y es todo el plan.
So is there we can make like a promise note that the one that he has?
I would have to review that if you wanted to table that so we can discuss it further, but under the current ordinance, I can't think of anything that would allow for that, but we can review it further.
I think if there's a possibility for maybe an extension or
That's what I'm saying.
special, something instead of the rezoning.
Want to table for the next meeting?
Right, or to table, and then I guess we can talk about that also in the commissioner's report.
Yeah, so for the 15th maybe. If we have to do it on the 15th, is that going to be good enough time for us
Okay.
to do that?
Well,
Because we don't want to have them, in limbo, like you said, in limbo.
No.
They need to, yeah.
I mean, I think what the preference would be is not to have to change the zoning, even if the building stayed there. I mean, if you're looking at 900 square feet, I mean, you're looking like a garage size. And I think that if we could do an accessory to where
Or he-
eventually,
Or can he attach it? If he attaches it, it's just one dwelling, no? I mean.
That is true.
right?
No tuviera bueno, estamos tratando de ver qué se puede hacer, ¿verdad? No pensaría a lo mejor conectarlo hasta con un porchecito o una conexión a la casa para que nomás sea una por lo pronto y así sí se puede. Ya más adelante lo tumba si lo quiere tumbar.
Sí, sí se puede porque casi está pegada con la casa.
Eso se puede hacer, es una respuesta.
Just an attachment.
We can-
cerca de los porches de uno a otro.
We can look into that as well.
Yes.
Okay.
Sí pueden
Asistir
hablar de eso
nomás
y lo
dos
que vamos a hacer,
semanas.
vamos a hacerlo table para 2 semanas y lo podemos poner para atrás y ya nos puede decir usted si lo quiere conectar o no lo puede conectar.
Sí, está bien. Está bien, vemos eso. Yo creo que sí lo puedo conectar.
Okay. Entonces, then I will make a motion to table it. Oh. Pásale para arriba, sí, señor. Pásale para arriba y luego dice su nombre acá arriba, por favor, sí, please.
Sí, soy Lorena Armenta, la representante. Tienen una cocina, yo tengo entendido, porque a esto me dedico, que al momento de tener una cocina en la otra unidad, tiene que ser dúplex, ¿sí me explico?
No se me hace porque hay casas de venta ahorita que son como next generation homes.
Ajá.
Donde tiene, por ejemplo, 2 cocinitas, ¿verdad? Como para los suegros o para los hijos o algo así. No hay problema.
Ok, y es que originalmente se había pensado en pedir para ADU, pero sí nos dijeron que no se permitía.
Sí, porque así se venden casas ahorita, sí,
Ajá.
que se llaman Next Generation Houses, ¿verdad?
Ah, muy bien, entonces ya con eso.
Okay.
Gracias.
So I'll make a motion to table it for the next meeting.
Do you have a second?
I second.
I have a motion made by Andrew Arroyo, second by Yolanda Rodriguez, to table for next meeting, July 15th. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstain? Motion carried. Item number 11, Planning and Zoning Commissioners Report.
Okay. So let's talk about the meeting. I guess I can get a hold of, who will reach out to Mr. Reza? Will you or?
I will.
You will? Okay.
Staff will arrange the meeting times. The best way with such short notice
Yes.
for us to be flexible, we have the opportunity to use virtual. We have the resources for that, whatever time of day. We are here to serve. So we can make all the arrangements, reach out to Mr. Reza. If he can't, reach out to you to let you know what time.
Okay, and I'm assuming the people from the audience.
Somebody did leave their information. I'll see if anybody else
Okay.
has left their information, and I will let everyone know
Okay.
what time and how we will meet.
That was for the committee?
Yes, this is for the committee.
Okay. I don't have anything. I think hopefully that tenant will come back and say he'll connect his house and we take it off of the plans.
What date again, please?
Thursday, July 3rd.
July 3rd?
If you can,
Tuesday, July the 8th.
Let's start with July 3rd. What time and where?
That is what I'm going to arrange.
you need to leave your information with them.
And we're definitely going to need some flexibility. We're open to day or evening, and meeting in person and partially virtual, so. And that's the day after tomorrow, so yes, I'll reach out to everybody tomorrow.
Anything else?
No. No vacation. You have to, nope, you have to cancel your flight to Disneyland. Nope, sorry.
Alrighty. Planning and Zoning Department report, Ms. Camino?
Thank you, Marion. I want to invite everyone to our 4th of July celebration at Cougar Park. It is going to be a lot of fun. It starts at 5, and Bobby Pulido is performing? No, who?
Michael Salgado.
Michael Salgado is performing. It would be great if we could share that there are 2 important items on City Council's agenda for Thursday. This Thursday, the meeting starts at 6. We are going to be going over a previous Arterial 1 project presentation, and Mayor Cruz has has placed an item on the agenda to have staff review the cancellation of the Arterial 1 project. So those are important items that affect everyone in the community. Staff has spent the day trying to reach out to as many people that have shown interest in the project, and we'll try to spread the word as best we can and ask anybody who is interested in the project and learning more about it to attend the meeting on Thursday. This week, I will be attending the El Paso Metropolitan Planning Organization as a member of the Transportation Advisory Committee, and we'll keep everybody aware of any upcoming meetings and opportunities for public comment. The city has submitted their project, and that might be a good presentation for next meeting as well, if it's not too long. What items we shared with the MPO and what criteria the MPO will use to select projects for the new long-range transportation plan. And not to take up too much more of your time, I think that might be it for the department report.
One quick question, if that gentleman does come in 2 weeks and decides to do that, then this is completely gone. I mean, he doesn't have to come in for a rezoning.
Yeah, we would delete the item. If we can find an avenue that doesn't require rezoning, we will not need to rezone.
But he will have to come out and pull a permit or whatnot?
Whatever improvements,
Or whatever
additional,
improvement,
the plans, get those reviewed.
So you're thinking of converting it to a single dwelling by
Yeah.
attaching a porch or portico or something?
Yeah.
Hallway, anything?
Correct.
Okay.
And then, I mean, that way he doesn't have to rezone or whatnot, because he's saying he's gonna come back in about a year and a half and gonna
Tear
knock
it
it
down.
down or whatnot. So,
Okay. Yeah, well, I agree with that. I'm just thinking, okay, a year from now, it'll be in right. He's got to do it, right? Or it can be enforced that he needs to tear it down.
right.
If that's, or it's a fine structure and a very lovely house and
Yeah.
he wants the, but again, items for
Okay.
review. Thank you.
I have a question. Okay, so we heard a lot about the Arterial 1, and so they've been having a bunch of meetings.
Yes.
Okay,
I'm
so
sorry you missed our update last last meeting.
Yeah, I haven't been. I'm looking at their texting and stuff like that, but I haven't gone. I'm thinking I heard that some council members went to those meetings, but I'm wondering if anybody from here, from staff, is allowed to attend, or if you've attended or talked to them outside of a city function.
No,
Because as a community, you're not.
I have not been given that direction from the city manager to do that. We have offered to have meetings, to host meetings. We have held meetings here. We are pending a meeting because there was a request to have a meeting at Escondrias Elementary on a Saturday, invite the public. That is pending the outcome of the Thursday meeting. The public is encouraged to continue to write in their comments, share whatever thoughts they have regarding the project, and we can answer as many questions as we can as staff. But no, I haven't gone out to attend any of the private meetings that individual neighborhoods or individual constituents have had in their homes.
And
I've
again-
not been directed by administration to attend those meetings.
And because it's text.org, correct?
No.
No.
Again, so there's no confusion. This is a local government project. The city of Socorro saw the benefit to increasing the capacity of our network, contributing to the regional mobility, not just for the city, but for all of, so all of the connectivity, us, Socorro, the communities to the south of us. This is a Socorro-led project. The city of Socorro is the one requesting the funds. If it were, all of this that's been done to this point has been organized, managed by the city of Socorro. Our partners in this are TxDOT, the MPO, our engineering firm, their sub-consultants, in just trying to put this whole project together to see what's the best path forward. So this is our project. We currently don't have funding past this piece. So if we can finish this piece, see what is, if there is a preferred alternative, if the option is to not build this road, if there are environmental issues that we cannot overcome, that would be something that would be the result of this process if we took it to the end of what we have allocated funds for. After this, if we do end up coming up with something, if the process ends up recommending something and the next step requires additional resources, we would have to go request those funds from the El Paso Metropolitan Planning Organization, and at that point, we're in competition with all of the MPO member communities, which is the City of El Paso, Horizon, San Elizario, the county. So it's still a long process moving forward. But depending on the direction from City Council on Thursday, we'll see. If anybody has any questions, has other community members asking you for questions, you're more than welcome to always just direct them to me, direct them to our city website. All of the resources that were shared at the public meeting on May 21st are available online. They're still up there. We're still gathering information. You may not get a direct response to your comments, but they will be added to the documents.
Okay.
Thank you.
No more questions, we're ready.
Thank you.
Okay. Item number 13, consider and take action on the adjournment of this meeting. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
I second.
I have a motion made by Andrew Arroyos, second by Yolanda Rodriguez to adjourn. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Any nays?
Yeah, okay.
Any abstain?
Okay.
Motion carried, meeting adjourned at 8:54 PM. Thank you and have a good night.